Xiaogai freezes in terror, thinking it's over, done for. But at that instant, a figure flashes before her. Yunshen teleports using Divine Flash, shielding her. The sword pierces his chest, blood spilling. Coughing blood, he whispers weakly, apologizing to Xiaogai for past wrongs. Xiaogai cries out in panic, tears streaming as she calls to her master. Despite the pain, Yunshen thinks it all happened too fast. I couldn't react in time. Sai Shaji sneers, cruelly foolish, shielding a contract beast with your life. Then die with her! She instantly unleashes another lethal strike, aiming straight at Yunshen. Without thinking, he shields Xiaogai again. The explosion shakes the ground violently. When the smoke clears, Sai Shaji freezes. Yunshen has activated his invincible state. In that moment, all incoming damage is completely nullified. Yuri panics, calling out for Xiaogai. She has no such protection and might not survive the shockwave. Suddenly, Xiaogai transforms into a tiny tree, trembling, her voice weakly calling master. Yunshen reassures her no fatal injury, urging her to rest and recover, thankful for the narrow escape. As he finishes speaking, Xiaogai fades away, retreating to safety to preserve her life. Seeing this, Shi Shaji laughs triumphantly. Without that beast, Yunshen must be gravely wounded. Convinced of victory, she raises her hand, ready to deliver the final blow. But suddenly, the elf queen dashes forward, shielding Yunshen and shouting for her to stop. Yunshen signals with his eyes time to unleash the secret move they'd prepared. The queen nods, determined to stall her foe so Yunshen can finish his setup. Sai Shaji smirks disdainfully, mocking their stalling. Killing Yunshen will be child's play. Out of nowhere, the dark elf queen slaps her across the face with thunderous force. The crack echoes like thunder. Shi Shaji freezes as the queen smirks provocatively. Her subordinates stand stunned, unable to believe their mistress was slapped in public. The act wounds not just flesh but her towering pride, an insult beyond forgiveness. Sai Shaji roars furiously. Without Xiaogai, even both of them together are useless. The queen stands firm, reminding her of the dark elf's humiliation and her vow for justice. At her last word, both women charge, murderous intent exploding in full. Sai Shaji snarls, the weak errant worthy to speak of dignity or defiance? Their clash turns brutal, a battle of origin itself, life or death. The rage of the dark elves erupts, their army charges, howling to rewrite fate. Meanwhile, Xiao Yu and Xiao Leng see the overheated fortress, unable to fire, and prepare to join the fight. Suddenly, Xiao Yu notices something strange, glowing demon crystals surrounding them. She realizes Yunshen is using them to rapidly restore his dark demon energy. Yet summoning the Thorn Queen between Demon Lord and Demon Master level drains tremendous energy. With Xiaogai gone, the enemy's strength drops, easing Yunshen's burden. It seems he's about to unleash a mana-devouring skill, merging all professions into a primal state. Sai Shaji, a veteran Demon Lord, has immense reserves. Mere tenfold willpower won't suffice, but upgrading to Floral Myriad Wheel could shift the fight. In an instant, Yunshen channels everything, activating the Supreme Eternal Night Wheel Cataclysm, matching Demon Lord might. Across the Demon King city, Yunshen's army and the Dark Elves dominate completely. Xiao Yu and Xiao Leng's entry boosts morale, unstoppable momentum surges. The duel of the two leaders becomes the center of all attention. Yunshen and Shi Shaji trade blow after blow, neither yielding, both fighting to exhaustion. Gradually, the Dark Elf Queen falters, losing her edge. Sai Shaji slams her down, her head cracking the stone floor, debris flying. Without pause, while the queen is dazed, Shi Shaji rushes in at terrifying speed. Before she can react, a vicious kick slams into her head. The queen collapses, coughing blood, too injured to stand. Sai Shaji approaches with a sinister smile, mocking the queen's foolishness for fighting full force. You should have kept hiding, she sneers, not wasting your life pretending to be brave. Before she can gloat, an overwhelming aura erupts from Yunshen's position. Though wounded, the elf queen exhales in relief. Arrogant Shi Shaji now faces her extraordinary ally. Yunshen activates the ultimate Eternal Night Wheel Cataclysm Steer, boosting all stats by 5,000, resistances by 300 but draining 10,000 mana or HP per second. He calculates only 11 seconds of endurance, yet enough to overturn the battle. His figure blurs into illusion, leaving only faint afterimages. Sai Shaji senses dread. Yunshen has vanished. She spins around, finding only empty air behind her. Suddenly, pain flashes across her cheek, teeth nearly cracking. She barely gasps. Damn it, the strike was too fast, completely invisible. Before reacting, Shiz punched hundreds of meters through the Demon King's city, smashing through buildings. Staggering up, she realizes Yunshen's strength has skyrocketed, though clearly at a deadly cost. Before she can recover, Yunshen is already upon her, pressing relentlessly. She counters with a destructive Origin Crystal Blast, closing in to suffocate him. Yunshen stands firm, merging sorcery with blazing Origin Fireballs erupt, shattering her spell. A vortex of annihilation forms, swallowing Shi Shaji, leaving her defenseless. Yunshen seizes the chance, landing a massive punch that craters the ground tens of meters deep. He doesn't stop, thousands of punches rain down, each carrying terrifying force. Sai Shaji grits her teeth behind her defense, noting his mana nearly drained, life force burning fast. So that's why his rushing, his backlash is severe, she realizes. Confident, she decides to endure just a few more seconds, and hell collapse. She triggers her second bloodline gift. Severed armor scales, thick plates grow, blocking Yun Shen's barrage. From afar, Xiao Yu shouts in panic, that skill can't last 3 minutes! Hell burn out! Yet the elf queen stays calm, eyes shining with certainty. The loser won't be Yun Shen. Every clash, every origin surge drives Shi Shaji closer to her limit. Usually, she'd retreat or dodge, but now she can only turtle up, trembling under the assault. Suddenly, Yun Shen raises his hand, eyes cold as death. It chills her to the bone. In that instant, she knows she's lost. Yun Shen draws out an Arank soul contract item linking 50 of his soul to the target, forming an unbreakable master-servant bond. The condition: the target must be weakened or yielding. If its stats are lower, success rises sharply. As it activates, Shi Shaji realizes too late it's a soul pact. After 2 years in the Dark Realm, Yun Shen has mastered relics and battlefields alike, wielding miracles beyond mortal reach. Even common artifacts in his hands become tools of total subjugation. He raises the scroll, shouting, "You've lost!" Countless beams of light surge toward Shi Shaji. She struggles, screaming in defiance, mocking that no mere contract could ever enslave her. But Yun Shen had planned ahead, conserving a massive reserve of dark demon energy after using the Eternal Night Wheel. In that instant, he activates Eyes of Night, the skill of Haiyan and Zun, freezing Shi Shaji solid. She's suddenly locked in ice, terror flooding her eyes as Yun Shen smirks. His soul contract begins suppressing her essence. His voice booms like thunder. The moment you feared, turtled, and exposed weakness, your fate was sealed. The contract's light erupts, binding her soul tight. From now on, he commands, "You are my slave." Yet she thrashes violently, roaring in defiance. Her demon lord will refuses to yield. The binding threads quake, cracks forming. Yun Shen frowns. Something's wrong. The issue isn't the pack's weakness but the vast power gap between them. Laughing madly, Shi Shaji flaunts her status as one of the 72 supreme demon pillars, mocking the Arank pact. Yun Shen stays calm. "You're celebrating too soon." He takes out a boundary stone to upgrade the pact. Instantly, the stone merges, the contract blazes and ascends to Shrank. The new pact activates, its success rate skyrocketing, soul pressure flooding the field. Still, Shi Shaji sneers. The odds are 1% and failure means instant death. Though drained and weakened, Yun Shen remains utterly composed. 1%, he replies coolly. Then today luck is mine. She freezes, recalling every absurd twist of fortune before realization dawning in horror. Too late. By the time she understands, it's already over. Across the battlefield, Xiao Yu and the elves hold their breath, praying for this final moment. Suddenly, the pact completes. Shi Shaji's body shatters with exhaustion, her breath chaotic. Yet she still lunges forward in blind fury, screaming to kill Yun Shen. Xiao Yu gasps, thinking the pact failed, shouting a warning. But Yun Shen stays serene, raising a hand, his voice deep and commanding, "Kneel." Instantly, Shi Shaji, now Sackler, collapses to her knees, trembling in despair, unable to resist despite her pride. Yun Shen steps closer, coldly declaring, "Your life and death now rest in my will." Defiance needs no reminder. She freezes, bitterness choking her words, humiliation boiling inside. Then, after a long pause, she bows low, voice trembling, "Please forgive my insolence, master." The dark elves and shadow forces erupt in cheers, hailing victory, while the demon legion falls silent in despair. Yet the dark elf queen chuckles wryly, teasing, "Relax, everyone, it was just a rehearsal." She steps between the factions, speaking smoothly, "This was all prearranged, to test our people's resolve." Shi Shaji frowns, gritting her teeth, "What a cheap lie, who would believe that?" Yun Shen replies coldly, "Belief doesn't matter. What we need now is stability." Deep down, Shi Shaji realizes Yun Shen seeks not peace but total domination of the demon lands. Meanwhile, rumors swirl among the citizens. Some say Shi Shaji knelt before the Dark Lord King himself. Others deny it, insisting it was all staged. No one saw it happen. It was just a drill, right? But soon, many began to doubt. If it was just a drill, why team up with those lowly elves? At that moment, 3 high-ranking demon lords gathered urgently in the royal city sub-hall. Daishaji exploded in fury, shouting, "If it's a drill, why leave your lands? Want me to snap your necks?" One demon lord hurriedly replied, "The royal city sent a distress call. We didn't dare delay, and rumors spread against you." Daishaji's voice turned icy. "What rumors? Speak." A trembling demon lord stammered, "Someone said you once knelt before the High monarch." Instantly, he got struck down and fainted on the spot. Daishaji's killing intent flared. "Believe that nonsense again, and it'll crush your skulls. Get out." The 2 remaining demon lords panicked, bowed repeatedly, and fled the hall. Finally, Daishaji vented rage on her subordinates, calling them idiots and useless troublemakers. Suddenly, the dark elf queen scoffed, saying she acted like a cheap woman and should control her temper. Jessica snapped, grabbed her by the neck, and yelled, "If slavery's so easy, you try it, you trash!" Just then, Yun Shen stepped in calmly, asking softly, "You okay?" Right after, Daishaji was bound by the contract's power, paralyzed and speechless. The soul pact enforced absolute obedience. If the master dies, the slave dies, their souls forever linked. The dark elf queen said coldly, "Daishaji, know your place." Then she added, "No one helps you out of kindness without mutual gain. your clan would have perished long ago. Dai Shiji smirked. You just want a puppet, nothing noble about it. She continued, if I die, the other 72 demon clans will tear my lands apart, and you'll lose control. But if I live and my people stay quiet, kill me and your realm will erupt in chaos. Then she smiled mockingly. Let me guess, now you'll propose an alliance, right? The Dark Elf Queen sighed, inwardly admitting she'd been right their clan, too weak to stand alone. After all, if 3 clans united, the power would make the rest of demonkind tremble. Yet the 72 demon clans were steeped in hatred. Any alliance was a fragile facade. At once, Yun Shen said coldly, a slave must look the part, change clothes and meet me in the study tonight. Hearing that, Dai Shiji's face changed, heart tightening. What are you planning? The queen sneered, obviously, doing what slaves do, serve well. Dai Shiji raised a brow, snapping, I'm still a virgin. No one dares touch me without dying. That night, in the study, Yun Shen was doing push-ups, sweat dripping as he muttered about massive mana drain. He calculated silently, as long as I live and have mana, this skill can grow endlessly in strength and intellect. Suddenly, the system chimed, a daily quest delayed 4 times. Choose between attribute points, skill points, or random materials. Yun Shen muttered, first 2 times I was knocked out, next 2 I was too busy fighting, doubt it's serious. Just then, a knock sounded, tock tock tock, and Yun Shen said curtly, come in. The door opened. Dai Shiji entered, wrapped in a black cloak, making Yun Shen frown. She looked like a thief. She tossed the cloak aside, snapping, if I don't cover up, how can I face my people as a queen? Yet her eyes blazed with hatred, as if she'd burn the man before her. Yun Shen barked coldly, who allowed you to look me straight in the eye? She bowed in apology, soft-voiced but cursing inwardly, this brat dares lecture me. Ridiculous. He brushed past her calmly, warning next time won't be forgiven, then softened his tone, calling her Xiao Ye. She blinked, annoyed, asking why. He chuckled, if you dislike it, I can call you Xiao Dai or Xiao Ji instead. She reluctantly replied Xiao Ye, vowing silently to make him pay for enslaving her. Yun Shen studied her outfit, praised its fit, and thought she still resisted, must be guided slowly to control her better. Then he asked, at the war's end, you mentioned the lucky water wine, did you truly see it? Xiao Yi nodded firmly, yes, I got it from a divine envoy, it's a system item. Hearing that, Yun Shen froze, eyes flashing, divine envoy. He asked again, so the lucky water wine isn't mine alone. The divine envoy also has it. Xiao Yi nodded slightly, that's entirely possible. Yun Shen fell into thought. He recalled using that wine first to gain Demon Lord Marrow and High Yi Goddess bloodline. In truth, not just the lucky wine, but every item or skill granted by the system hid deep secrets. He had searched all across the dark world, no one knew that wine, nor any skill like the unconditional space teleport. Thus, he once believed his system rewards unique, but now it's clear his only one of many chosen. He lifted his gaze, voice icy, ordering Xiao Ye to speak only truth from now on. If she lies, she must destroy one of her own organs. Her face went pale with terror. She reluctantly said, that's cruel, but fine, I gain nothing from lying, I'll tell all I know. She continued slowly, you don't grasp the divine envoy's true power, it's not mere luck. In fact, the lucky water alters causal events, tilting outcomes toward what benefits the user most, but only if the event had at least a 0.01 chance of happening. Any small chance is enough. So if sneezing benefits you, drink the potion and you'll surely sneeze. Like in battle, you sensed perfectly with the Dark Elf Queen, avoiding death, all thanks to that effect. Yun Shen frowned, asking darkly, then isn't lucky water an invincible power? Xiao Yi leaned close, whispering, not at all, I saw a divine envoy use it and still die. That piqued Yun Shen's curiosity. Who was that envoy? How could they die? She smiled, patience. To understand the envoy, we must go back to the war between 2 worlds, even before the gods emerged. Yun Shen frowned, wasn't it your 72 demon lords who started that war? Xiao Ye nodded, yes, but most only sought to slaughter humans as sacrifices, trading lives for supreme power. Hearing that, Yun Shen was stunned, gods, then realized his suspicions about corpse sacrifices were justified. He said slowly, everyone knows of 2 deities, the god of humanity and the god of darkness, each ruling opposing worlds. Perhaps those 2 turned both realms into a chessboard for their power games. Every being is a pawn, even you and me, and since you've crossed both worlds, you should know best. Yun Shen nodded, admitting the dark world far surpassed humanity in strength and numbers. Xiao Ye continued, indeed, that's why the god of humanity sought aid from afar, creating divine envoys to shift the balance. Yun Shen frowned, why the detour? Can't gods directly aid their own world? Xiao Yi smirked, gods are bound by rules, they can't interfere freely in the realms they govern. Break the laws, and the world collapses, so they send help externally, one divine envoy at a time. Dim light shadowed Yun Shen's face, his eyes turned cold. How did the previous envoys die? Xiao Yi tilted her head, hunted by dark cultists and demon lords, or slain in human wars, you're the longest lived. Yun Shen growled, so am a divine envoy just because of a lucky potion. Xiao Yi sneered, eyes glowing as she activated the soul lock insight, I see what others cannot. Inside you dwell 2 separate souls, that's a trait only divine envoys possess. Yun Shen froze, voice trembling. How can you see that? Only the void or world tree can sense it. Xiao Yi replied calmly, soul tracing is my Duanyi demon bloodline gift. I can perceive and follow souls. After years of mastery, I can even observe and partly meddle with the target's soul. In truth, the lucky potion alone proves that its power exceeds anything this world can create. Yun Shen replied coldly, then using it to enslave a demon lord of the 72 pillars wasn't a waste at all. He paused, then asked if the god of humanity made envoys. What about the god of darkness? Just watched. Xiao Ye closed her book. Of course not, he made dark world envoys too. From then, dark prodigies arose, growing so fast they shook the world. They became so strong they threatened the 72 demon lords themselves, forcing us to unite and destroy them. Yun Shen asked seriously, so all 72 joined the war? Xiao Yi scoffed, only the top ranks. We killed everyone we met, and am the sole survivor. Xiao Yi detailed it included the Devouring Lord, Illusion Slayer, and Shadow Master. Yun Shen asked coldly, rank 21, like you counts as top tier. She smiled, they were mighty. Yes, but none but I could manipulate souls, making me a special case. Yun Shen pressed on, what of the Void Demon and the First Lord? Xiao Ye frowned, you call yourself a demon lord yet know nothing. The First Lord vanished with his entire clan long ago, while the Void Demon disappeared after dividing the 72 realms. None have found him since. With them gone, the Devouring Lord seized supreme control until 4 months ago, when he vanished, halting the invasion of the human world. Yun Shen flinched, the timing matched when Xia Lao Shi left with her clone, meaning her mission was done. He asked, so all dark envoys were killed. Xiao Ye shook her head, some surrendered, forced into the human world to fight. But once there, they changed minds, twisted, refused to kill, even aided humans against us. Yun Shen was stunned. Could dark envoys also be people from Earth, like me? Realizing that, he pressed, do you remember anything else about them? Tell me everything. Xiao Yi spoke slowly, I rarely met them each time. I joined the Devouring Lord to hunt them down. No time for talk. What I'll never forget, the last envoy, the strongest one, wielded terrifying immortality. Even when reduced to ashes, he revived in an instant. I still shiver with excitement recalling him, immortal, lucky, utterly unbeatable. Even with all of us attacking, he didn't falter. He nearly erased the Shadow Master on the spot. If not for others creating an opening, I'd never have shattered his soul that moment. Had he survived a few seconds longer, we'd all have been wiped out. But before fading, he shouted strange words. He roared, remember my name, Li Tianzheng? I'll never harm humankind, and I'll annihilate your demonic kind. Xiao Ye burst out laughing, haha, such foolishness. His soul shattered, yet still posturing. Devouring Lord ate him anyway. Pathetic. Seeing her mock, Yun Shen's fury flared. Kneel, he commanded. Xiao Ye's knees slammed into the ground, body trembling, unable to resist the contract. She cried out, are you insane? What was that for? Yun Shen replied coldly, nothing. You just annoy me. Punishment next week. Now continue about the envoys. Xiao Ye ground her teeth, master. Perhaps you still don't understand, gods are arrogantly beyond mortal grasp. Envoys are mere tools in their grand game. Life or death means nothing, just dust on their board. Yun Shen nodded inwardly, so that's why he was almost erased just for looking up during that ancient ritual. Truly, as the world tree once said to the gods, he's just a slightly larger ant, meaningless in life or death. He clenched his fist, voice firm, but sometimes even ants become beasts that make gods bow. Xiao Ye froze, thinking this one's got guts. Even among 72 demon lords, few dare defy divinity. Then Yun Shen raised his hand, chanting restraint. The black light spread around her. Invisible chains tightened her body, forcing her into an awkward, motionless pose. He smirked coldly, punishment time. 3 days later, Karada Yunnan, Dai Shijis loyal maid, returned carrying a sealed coffin, humming as he walked, eyes gleaming, oh divine beauty. Lady Dai Shiji, your faithful Karada has come home. Then he froze, dumbstruck. Wait, what happened? I was gone 2 years. Why is the royal city a wasteland? He rushed to gather news, hearing townsfolk whisper. They called it a combat drill, but who drills inside the royal city? Someone whispered, a rumor says Lady Di Shiji was seduced by the Haija monarch and now stays in his study all day. Another chimed in jealously, they even heard strange moans. Who knew she'd fall for that skinny guy? Unbelievable! Instantly, Kata went berserk, roaring that Lady Dai Shiji had never had a male pet in 1,000 years. Any slanderer would die by his hand. He then cursed them as trash and charged toward the study to confront her himself. Meanwhile, in Yun Shen's study, breaths and faint cries echoed as he ordered coldly, you're not sleeping tonight. As Kata approached, he froze. The voice inside, was that hers? Impossible. He had to see for himself. He dropped to his knees, shouting, Lady Dai Shiji, urgent findings from the sealed pulse grounds. I must report in person. Inside, Yun Shen frowned. What now? Xiao Ye muttered, I forbade anyone near here. Never mind. I'll check. The door creaked open. Dai Shiji stepped out, tidy and cold-eyed. How did you get in here? Kata bowed hastily. Forgive me, my lady, it's urgent. I barged in out of concern. But his mind swirled, her flushed face, sweat, faint marks of restraints. Could it really be? Yet Xiao Yi gave him no chance to think. She slapped him hard, shouting, speak or scram! Barging in at midnight! Shameful fool! Kata was flung back, rolling across the cold stone, pain stabbing through his body. But the worst pain was despair. He laughed madly. The one he worshipped had bowed to a man. Hatred consumed him. He rasped, then let it all burn. Everything ends here. Back inside, Yun Shen asked, what of the sealed pulse grounds? Anyone guarding? She sneered, only corpses. Nothing worth watching. Yun Shen nodded darkly, then proceed as planned. He leaned down, binding her again, voice icy. Let's see if you can resist this time. Each strike followed mercilessly. Xiao Ye gritted her teeth, screaming inwardly, I am a demon. How can I be humiliated like this? At last, she screamed aloud, pain and shame blending into endless howls. 7 days passed. Yun Shen drained Dai Shiji completely, her body limp on the cold floor. Xiao Ye panted weakly, every drop of vitality gone, too exhausted to move. Yun Shen smiled triumphantly. He now held 95 of her power, enough to restore himself. She had nothing left. He listed the stolen abilities, all wide range, high damage skills that would terrify any foe. Yet, he regretted the bloodline talents could be seized, or he'd have taken her soul tracing seal too. Xiao Yi chuckled faintly, so many skills, yet your mana can't sustain even half my strength. Yun Shen leaned close, eyes cold, I know. But beyond leveling up, rare items boost my stats. He pressed, you've lived 1,000 years, your treasure hoard must be massive. Hand it over, especially anything for vitality or mana, ill devour it all. Furious, Xiao Ye hurled the remaining items. That's all! Want more? Go raid the vault yourself? Silently cursing him to choke on his greed. Yun Shen burst out laughing, eyes gleaming with greed. I nearly forgot. The Duan Ye demon's vault is worth stripping bare. Suddenly, Xiao Ye's body glowed. She panicked. The council hall is summoning me by magic force. Yun Shen raised a brow. A regular meeting. Perfect timing, right in the middle of chaos. Xiao Yi turned, asking softly, may I go? Yun Shen smiled faintly, of course you may. Then he added, I'll come along. With that, Yun Shen stepped into her teleportation light. In an instant, both were swept into the mana vortex and transported to the Council of the 72 Lords. When they appeared, Yun Shen stood at the 72nd seat, scanning the hall and marveling at its strange setup. Though the lowest rank, he didn't care. Things could always be overturned. Suddenly, mocking voices rang out. Isn't that the Hye monarch? How dare he show up, his debts unpaid and still attending? Another shouted, we gave you a chance and you wasted it. What now? Courting death. Get out! Yun Shen kept smiling, calm, easy now. It's just a meeting. Shouting through projections won't kill anyone. Observing closer, he noticed the mana levels differed. Half of the 72 were clearly still battling in the human realm. He smirked. 3 empty seats, huh? Guess I'm still in the ranks thanks to Nashos, including the second lord. Then the third lord, Li Beyond Calamity Lord, spoke warily. Let's end this fast. I've got better things to do. The 37th lord, Tyrant Sky Demon, snapped, you're shirking duty while the devouring lord's gone. The third replied coldly, who said I must decide? The Void Demon gave no such order. I paid my war tithe. The done. The 37th growled, the front lines are stalled, only you can lead, yet you act unconcerned. Ironically, the third sneered, eyes flashing, bark again, and I'll kill you right here. The other froze, drenched in cold sweat, instantly silent. Then the 7th lord, the alluring queen, spoke softly, peace, dear demons, only love makes our world endure. She smiled at Yun Shen, you're intriguing. Hye monarch, I wonder how far your chaos will reach. But a chilling voice cut in, enough with your flirting. Hez our enemy. That one glared at Yun Shen. Hye monarch, are you here to trade, declare war, or beg forgiveness? Then turned to Xiao Ye, you joined him, and the dark elf queen in that mock drill. Lost your mind? Xiao Ye chuckled coolly, just an excuse to swallow the Hye lands. You didn't really believe that story, did you? Still fuming over her shorn hair, Yun Shen stepped forward, calm but commanding. Gentlemen, I came only to check in. Seeing you all well eases my heart. He narrowed his eyes, smiling coldly. In a few days, if you're still trembling alive, don't blame me. Someone frowned. What are you implying? Yun Shen turned away, voice faint. You'll find out soon enough. Let's go. At once, the demon roared, Hye monarch, you'll pay for this insult. The meeting dissolved, each demonic projection vanished back to its realm. In the dark chamber, Yun Shen mused, the 72 demon lords truly can't be underestimated. Pity the devouring lord didn't appear. At that moment, Xiao Yi suddenly sensed danger. Her instincts screamed alarm. She shouted, watch out! The Shadow Lord's attack is coming! A massive dark figure appeared, swinging a reaper's scythe straight at Yun Shen's head. Xiao Yi panicked. If he dies, I'm doomed too! Just as the blade was about to fall, Yun Shen spun and countered, moving faster than sight could follow. The impact was colossal, forcing him to pour in all his strength to block it. But he froze, his arm had cracked. Without hesitation, Yun Shen withdrew, channeling primal intellect, igniting into a blazing storm. The enemy's scythe shattered, erupting in a burst of light. He unleashed a chain of skills, full force strike, berserker rage, then fused primordial flame with frost meditation fist. The final blow slammed into the foe's abdomen with a thunderous roar. Energy erupted skyward, piercing the clouds and shaking the realm. Nearby demons screamed, heavens, whose power is that? From Lady Daishage's study! Another whispered, she, don't mention her. She's been furious lately, even lords got blasted. Anyone who annoys her dies. Wait, is she fighting the Hye monarch? Should we go see? Yun Shen panted, voice low even after stealing 95 of Xiao Ye's stats. The Shadow Lord still broke his arm, so this is the might of the 10 pillars. Xiao Ye wiped sweat, trembling. Who told you to provoke a 10 pillar? Serves you right, Yun Shen smirked. Pain teaches best. Know the foe, win the war. The unknown is the true enemy. He mused silently. That strike revealed much about the 10 pillars' strength and the fractured ambition among the 72 lords known truly united. Turning to Xiao Ye, he ordered sharply, prepare. It's time for the next phase. 10 days later, crowds packed the royal city plaza, buzzing about Dai Shage's grand proclamation. Even Hai Ye and dark elves attended. Someone scoffed, what right do the Hai Ye clan have to sit with us? And why does the Hai Ye monarch take the central seat? Voices rose. Look at him, lounging like on vacation. Not a formal council, daring to sit beside Lady Dai Shaji. Meanwhile, Yun Shen calmly devoured Venomfin death eel tentacles, mentally counting 8 intellect, 8 constitution, add heart, blood, Cerberus, 10 strength, 10 body. He ate nonstop, ignoring decorum. The dark elf queen leaned in, whispering, Yun Shen, it's a sacred ceremony, show some restraint, everyone's watching. Yet inwardly, she drooled. The smell was divine. Yun Shen spoke, Michu, power comes first. As long as my stomach holds, I eat. Those 72 lords had millennia of build-up. I can't waste a second. My stats are still far below even Xiao Ye or the Shadow Lord. Old Steward Baha shuffled forward, trembling. Your Majesty truly wants me to read the decree. Am unworthy! Yun Shen replied calmly, Bahani, you're my confidant and grand steward. Who else is more qualified? Soon you'll manage intertribal affairs, better get used to it. Inwardly, he noted that Lu Tu-Shi now governed the Hai Ye demon kingdom. Bei Ha still shook, voice quivering, but with the tension now. Forget coordination, even reading the announcement, no one will listen. As expected, chaos erupted below. Someone yelled that the Duanjia were just acting tough. He was invited here only for their monarch's sake. Then a dark elf snapped back, saying they only came out of respect for their queen, and reminded everyone who oppressed whom the Duanjia shouted challenges, daring them to fight. Suddenly, a terrifying aura flooded the entire square. Instantly, everyone dropped to their knees, bones nearly cracking under the pressure. It was the killing intent of Duanyi Mai Shake. She barked coldly, silence, or you'll rip your tongues out right here. The crowd immediately bowed, dead quiet, not daring to breathe. Yun Shen smiled calmly. Good, now we can begin. Beha trembled but gathered her courage, inhaled deeply, and began to read aloud. I, Bahani, representing the decree of the 3 kings, hereby declare the official formation of the alliance between Duanjia Hai Ye and the Dark Elves. The 3 kings hold supreme power. The clans shall share honor and shame, trade freely, forbid discrimination and civil war, enforce demon equality, free marriage, halve taxes, open academies, build infrastructure, and ensure 5 years of compulsory education. The crowd gasped. Someone exclaimed, did I hear that right? An alliance with Hai Ye and the Dark Elves. Talk about clinging to power. Aha continued, all is by the will of the 3 kings. Speak your additions, but approval lies with them. Suddenly, an enraged voice shouted, unacceptable. He sneered that the Dark Elves were fine, but the Hai Ye monarch could never compare to Lord Mai Shake. He only beat a mid-tier warlord by luck. He growled that the alliance should center around the Duanjia demons, the other 2 should be subordinates. The crowd cheered, chanting Meita's name, saying the Duanjia ranked 21st, why bow to the weak? Insults spread. Another yelled that an equal alliance was a joke and begged Lord Mi Shake to wake up. Duanyi Mai Shake exploded in fury, voice icy insolent. Silence, all of you! She turned to Yun Shen with a trace of guilt. Apologies, I haven't disciplined them well. Yun Shen waved it off, eyes sharp. No need. Just a bunch of brats, he said, vanishing mid-sentence. In an instant, Yun Shen stood behind Mei Tu, gripping his head, voice low. You want to fight? Ill oblige. His sudden appearance shocked everyone below. No one could react. Someone screamed, he used a spatial skill. The Hai Ye monarch can do that. Mei Tu's done for. Mei Tu roared in rage. A lowly monarch dares act high and mighty. Flame demon transformation now. But before he could move, Yun Shen smashed his head straight into the ground. Yun Shen stepped on his back, voice cold as a hammer. Looks like you need a lesson in manners. He unleashed a storm of kicks, each blow making Mei Tu scream and twitch helplessly on the ground. The earth cracked with every impact. Mei Tu couldn't resist, only endure the beating. The crowd trembled, gasping. That's the power of the Hai Ye monarch! Demon Lord Mei Tu's getting crushed like a beast is truly at master level. Mei Tu despaired, thinking that even tripling his power with flame demon form would change nothing. He was being ground to dust, utterly helpless. Nearby, another foolish demon lord swung his arm, unleashing the primordial violet thunder light. A purple bolt roared toward Yun Shen like heaven-splitting lightning. He simply tilted aside, dissolving the energy as if crushing a spider web. The attacker screamed in horror, impossible! Yun Shen smirked, activating his skill Superconscious Soul Lake, his body glowing with pure intellect. At once, he fired a beam of pure mental essence. In a flash, his punch pierced through space itself. It smashed into the demon lord's face. His eyes bulged as he realized Yun Shen truly wielded the power of pure intellect. Yun Shen stepped closer, voice icy. You want a lesson too? The man instantly knelt, trembling, begging, "Respected High Monarch, forgive my stupidity. I fully support the alliance." Inside, he cursed only Mai Sheikh could stop this man, and she stayed silent, leaving him no choice but to submit. Yun Shen's voice echoed across the square, "Hear me, Duanjia demons! I, the High Monarch, accept all challengers. If you're not convinced, step forward." His eyes swept the stands coldly, each word sharp, "But remember next time, the price won't be so light." The plaza fell deathly silent in a world ruled by power. Yun Shen had proven absolute authority. From that moment, the Duanjia, Haiye, and Dark Elves officially became the alliance. Though hatred lingered, strict law and overwhelming power forced temporary peace, letting time cool the grudges. News of the alliance spread like wildfire, shaking the dark world. Other clans panicked, withdrawing troops from the human realm in fear of being devoured. Far away, the Seventh Lord, Mamian Queen, relaxed as she heard of the new alliance. She murmured, "A three-clan alliance hasn't existed since ancient times. High Monarch, you've truly achieved something great." Her maid fretted, "Your Majesty, this alliance is no small matter. Should we recall troops from the front?" She replied calmly, "No need. Those three are far from threatening the 10 Pillars order." "Oh, right." The maid bowed. One more thing, A Lang Bela and Liu Bela were seen at the Haiye royal city, often visiting the Haiye monarch. Mamian Queen's grip tightened, her cup shattering as she hissed, "Those two have returned. Why wasn't I told sooner?" The maid panicked, kneeling, "You just come back from the front lines. Majesty, everyone wanted you to rest first." She kicked the maid furiously, snarling, "Anything can wait except news of those two. To hide it is courting death." Then Mamian Queen declared coldly, "Until you bear 10 demon children, you are forbidden to see me again." The maid burst into tears, pleading desperately, "Please no, I only wish to stay by your Majesty's side a little longer." The queen's voice cut sharp, "Have you negotiated with the Haiye monarchs to hand over A Lang Bela and Liu Bela?" The maid stammered, "Yes, we even offered territory, but he refused outright." The queen scowled, snapping, "Fool! Pushing harder will draw the void demon's attention, then our whole clan dies!" She ground her teeth, ordering, "Since they travel between both royal cities, send demon lords to ambush them. If they resist, bring me their corpses." The attendants gasped, "Your Majesty, that's an order to kill your own daughters." She replied coldly, "Yes, I'll spare no one, not even my own blood." Far away, the Nether Shadow Lord muttered darkly, "The Haiye monarch truly has skill. He survived one strike from me." He smirked, but Deetset Sidi siding with him just for that. Absurd. A nearby demon lord spoke, "Shadow Lord, the Haiye monarch grows arrogant after forming the alliance. He even pulled in Duanyi demons and refused to hand over war spoils. We should eliminate him early." The Nether Shadow Lord shook his head, "Hes in his royal city. Attacking now means igniting a war. The void demon will rage, and this time, no one will save us." The demon lord argued, "Destiny favors war. Obstacles must be destroyed. The void demon is strong, but stronger than you." The Shadow Lord's tone chilled, "Not stronger, but remember, I can't catch the void, yet the void can kill us." Elsewhere, across a cosmic chessboard, the Dark God grinned, "The human world will soon be devoured. You can't hold it much longer." The God of Wisdom replied calmly, "The game isn't over. Declaring victory early only makes you a fool." The Dark God laughed, "Oh, and your confidence comes from what? That void demon you released into my world?" He sneered, "No matter his strength, he's just a pawn. Besides, you broke the rules first interfering in my realm because a mere ant provoked you." The God of Wisdom smiled faintly, "Don't forget, you crossed the line first, stealing 2 of my humans and even my forbidden fruit. Speak of rules, you have none." The Dark God fell silent, fury flashing in his eyes. The God of Wisdom set a piece down, voice cold as steel, "Tell me, what will you use to change the game? That mutt rampaging in my world." She smirked, "Of course not. Him is not even worthy of the name dog. Should he betray me, I'll erase him myself." Crushing a piece, she added coldly, "The true piece that will change everything is called mythology," she declared, placing the next move. Elsewhere, Sha Kun Cheng sat chatting with Xiao Wu and Xiao Lei in a softly lit room. Xiao Wu happily reported, "Master, the alliance is complete. Though outwardly ruled by the 3 kings, true control lies with Mr. Yin." Sha Kun Cheng smiled with satisfaction, "Excellent. This alliance will force the demon clans to withdraw, letting humanity reclaim its lands. Our time is near." Thus, his achievement was enough for mankind to hail him as a hero, the one the world yearned for, to restore faith. Soon after, Xiao Lang cheerfully finished his report, reminding to deliver the item from the royal city to Mr. Yun. Sha Kun Cheng nodded and ordered it done. Under the dim orange dusk, Teacher Sha quietly stepped out, burdened with heavy thoughts. Then Madame C paused, her mind tangled with restless worries. Thinking of her disciples' devotion, she could stay idle. Her gaze drifted toward the stormy clouds, sensing an ominous sign. At that moment, a glowing sigil appeared, the very mark Lady Jiang had left for her. Instantly, immense power pressed down, forcing her to her knees, trembling violently. The sky turned blood-red, swirling into a colossal vortex like a furnace of gore. All living beings on the ground lifted their heads in terror, clueless to what horror had begun. Even from afar, the sight was visible. The pressure felt like an approaching storm, and even the Arctic skies changed color. At the same time, in the primitive tribe, people cheered. The moment they had awaited for years had finally come. Teacher Xia froze, voice trembling. In the records, such a celestial anomaly only happened 70 years ago. That year marked the fusion of reality and the game, and today, history was about to repeat as a floating notice appeared in the sky. On it, glowing words declared the launch of the final version mythology. Thus began the move of the God of Wisdom, triggering an unprecedented upheaval in the game world. The sight left all humans stunned, speechless in awe. Nearby, Xiao Lang chatted excitedly, bragging to Xiao Wu about how beloved Mr. Yun was. Xiao Wu nodded, pleasantly surprised. Yet after a few more steps, a horrifying scene unfolded before them. A group of Yaoling were surrounded by savage demon beasts, fighting desperately for their lives. Behind them, a wounded girl shouted that it was rotten luck to run into a demon lord right after leaving town. But the leading shaman sneered, saying the bad luck was hers for meeting humans abnormally strong mere third tier, yet injuring upper-ranked fiends. The princess behind grew excited, screaming to be released so she could slaughter them all. Yao Ling snapped, ordering silence and forbidding her to call her sister, leaving the princess teary and sulking. With a sigh, Yao Ling softened her tone, proposing a truce. They should pretend nothing happened and go their separate ways. However, the leading shaman hovered above, eyes icy, mocking that such peace was impossible. She declared that even injured, they would die first. No need for mercy. Just then, a clear voice rang out. Xiao Wu stepped forward with a smile, saying gently, "Not necessarily. With us here, the balance shifts." Yao Ling gasped with joy at the sight of Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang, unable to believe they were here. Instantly, the demons opposite brightened too, crying out the names Liu Bela and A Lang Bela, begging them to return. The queen had raged for years. The leading demon lord barked sternly, warning the two that they'd caused enough chaos. If they apologized now, the queen might still forgive them. Doubt rose in Yao Ling's mind. Wasn't the succubus queen the seventh lord? Why were Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang, once demon lords, tied to her? Had they betrayed humanity? Just then, Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang spoke together in surprise. Mother Queen, she's still looking for us. The battlefield fell silent, everyone holding their breath for the twin demons' reaction. Hearing they were the queen's daughters, Yao Ling was struck dumb, dread filling her heart. If true, they'd surely side with the succubus queen. Xiao Wu shook her head calmly, saying it wasn't worth mentioning. The leading demon lord spoke again, voice heavy with emotion, recounting how the queen had never forgotten them through all the years apart. She had sent searchers everywhere, believing her love was strong enough to forgive any sin, if only they would come home. But Xiao Wu cut her off coldly. Don't mention that woman. Xiao Lang's eyes flared, adding, her so-called love was just a gilded chain. They explained that the Queen Mother was the first demon born from darkness. She loved procreation more than anything, even her own children. Xiao Wu laughed, saying if returning meant birthing 100 kids to atone, she'd rather fight. Only fools would obey that woman. The opposing demon lord trembled with rage, fists clenched, teeth grinding, unable to retort. At last, she huffed coldly and turned away, warning that next time wouldn't end so easily. Another demoness sneered, mocking that birthing 100 was no crime. The queen was merely enjoying her succubus nature, while those two were the true oddities. At that moment, Yao Ling slumped to the ground, sighing in relief, grateful the disaster had passed. Xiao Wu approached, gently bandaging her wounds and asking why someone from Mr. Yun's group was here. Yao Ling smiled softly, saying she was on her way to find him. She added that they'd been ambushed between the two royal cities. Unlucky indeed, leading Xiao Wu to guess the succubi were after them. Yao Ling suddenly asked if Yun Shen knew their true identities. Xiao Lang grinned, saying he'd known long ago, even traded with the succubus queen once but couldn't care less. Back then, Yun Shen had calmly said while training, if you wish to return, then go. I need no extra territory, your choice, your will. Yao Ling chuckled, nodding that such indifference was exactly his style. Xiao Wu curiously asked what she sought him for. Unexpectedly, Yao Ling pulled out a massive gleaming axe, stunning everyone. Slinging it over her shoulder, she laughed boldly, shouting she had a tree to chop right now. Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang stood dumbfounded, clueless what she was planning. Moments later, in the Haijie Royal City study, Yao Ling entered only to find Duanyi Mai Sheki, the once feared demon pillar, now wearing a maid outfit beside Yun Shen. The sight made her burst out laughing, teasing that the mighty pillar had become her junior's servant, making Duanyi blush furiously and roar. Yun Shen remained calm, snacking on demonic cheese that boosted stats, remarking that the three of them together made quite the bizarre combo. Yao Ling replied cheerfully, nothing strange, I used to freeload at Teacher Xia's place. Xiao Lang then solemnly presented rare consumables looted from the Demon Kingdom, each one priceless. Yun Shen smiled in praise, asking for updates. Xiao Lang replied that Lu Tushi was managing everything perfectly. She added joyfully that thanks to the last battle, Lu Tushi had advanced to Demon Lord. Yun Shen nodded, pleased his power base was growing. He turned to Princess Lucini with a smile, saying now that the guildmaster had arrived, the spy mission was complete. Yao Ling agreed, saying it was time to exchange intel, earning Yun Shen's admiration. She smirked confidently, saying as the daughter of the nation guardian general, her strength was understandable, but still far below Yun Shen's. Her tone darkened as she revealed that the upper ranks of the Holy Empire had fallen under the Dark World's control, now mere pawns of the Dark God. She continued, explaining Lucini's change to fallen angel was only a step toward becoming a demonkin, since third-tier materials existed only in the Dark World, and Jiang Lin had exploited that. Yao Ling went on, saying the staged feud between Lucini and A Niji was to hide her true disappearance, and capturing her now served as proof to expose the Holy Empire. Upon return, she concluded that Lucini should be confined in the royal city for safety. Yun Shen proposed another plan, confidently saying his war fortress could imprison living beings for years, far easier to manage. With a wave of his hand, a swirling energy swallowed Lucini into the fortress, but she screamed, trembling, begging to stay beside her beloved sister. Xiao Ye frowned in disgust, inwardly cursing the useless fool for ruining her efforts. Yun Shen glanced at her with a faint smile, saying it was no surprise she was irritated. After all, the Holy Empire was tied deeply to her and the Dark Cult. He continued slowly, explaining that although everything had been manipulated by the Devourer Lord, that being had once poured great effort into both holy and dark factions alike. He said dark believers held unshakable loyalty through demonic power that altered both soul and flesh, while holy believers lacked that foundation. Thus, only hypnosis and brainwashing could sustain their faith, resulting in weaker, less adaptable power. Demons, Yun Shen sighed with a trace of bitterness, saying perhaps the mission was given by the Dark God himself, and now his own role as executor was complete. Xiao Lang interjected, puzzled why the Dark God would bother controlling the Holy Empire instead of posing as demons to start war faster. Yao Ling nodded, adding that all three realms had shape-shifting races. Even humans had similar spells, though she herself couldn't. Yun Shen's tone grew grave, saying they might be mistaken. The gods never played by fair rules. Xiao Lang gasped, you mean even gods cheat? Yun Shen merely nodded, eyes cold, saying both deities were playing chess with human lives. He questioned, if they truly sought victory, why not face each other directly instead of waging proxy wars? Perhaps not out of amusement, but because they feared the devastation of a true confrontation. For once they clashed, even the victor would suffer ruin, a mutual extinction. Thus, they chose detours, invading through worlds, using mortals as tools. The War of Gods was never noble. It was a limitless chess game where every fall move was allowed. Whenever possible, they'd break the rules, striking fatally before the other could react. Xiao Lang widened her eyes, exclaiming that the Dark God used humans as disposable pawns, caring nothing for the dead. Yao Ling nodded grimly, saying though it was only conjecture, clearly humanity was at a disadvantage, and they must find a way to change it. With that, she decisively drew her massive axe, eyes flashing with iron resolve. She declared that if she could fell the world tree with it, the Dark World would collapse, and the war would end instantly. Hearing this, Xiao Wu and Xiao Lang cried out in shock, unable to believe it. That's the real world tree. How could anyone cut it down? Xiao Ye frowned skeptically, asking if the Dark God was behind it, why order the destruction of his own world? Yun Shen pondered, asking how Lucini had reacted. Yao Ling replied calmly that she didn't care as long as it was divine command, even destruction would be obeyed. Then she handed him the axe, gaze distant. Yun Shen's voice turned cold as he examined it, doubting whether this weapon alone could truly bring down the world tree. Yao Ling nodded, handing it over, saying Shed meant for him to use it. She was a mage, unfit for the weapon's warrior-only demands. Yun Shen activated Infinite Insight Eye, carefully examining the Heavenly Cleaver Divinagrade, requiring a human warrior or fighter, granting 3,000 strength and 1,000 constitution. Side effect: each strike boosts power by 10, stacking up to 100 times. Most notably, it can pierce world barriers and directly damage the world tree. Its materials included molten core steel, dragonbone spines, destruction crystals, and condensed wind essence. After reading, Yun Shen shivered. Its power was unbelievable, nearly beyond human limits. He realized most materials came from the human realm, likely gathered by the Holy Empire, but one unnamed ingredient unsettled him deeply. Even his top-tier appraisal skill could identify it, meaning it was divine in origin. He began to suspect that this weapon and the Holy Crusade might be part of another scheme. Shaking his head, he sighed, saying guessing was useless. They'd go to the world tree and see for themselves. Sometime later, they reached the Dark Elf Forest, hearing cheerful voices calling out to their benefactor, the Hygeia monarch. Another voice eagerly asked when he and the queen would marry. Everyone awaited the union. The crowd cheered blessings, saying their union would make the Dark Clan invincible. Yun Shen frowned slightly, embarrassed. Xiao Lang cut in sharply, saying plenty of women adored the monarch, let their queen wait her turn. Xiao Wu only smiled, teasing that he was too popular. Yun Shen shrugged, saying it was normal had helped their clan escape poverty beside him. Yao Ling lowered her gaze, a faint jealousy flickering. Yun Shen turned to her, his tone deep, saying if the dark world fell, even these innocent dark elves would perish. The world tree had once saved him, he could destroy it hastily. Yao Ling wavered inwardly were it up to her, she'd bear infamy to end the war by cutting the tree. Outwardly, she only said coolly, the axe is yours now, decide as you wish. Alone, I could even reach this forest. Yun Shen fell silent, eyes deep as an abyss, realizing that no matter who won, humanity's fate might not improve. He turned to his comrades for counsel. Xiao Wu worriedly asked if leaving the Dark Elf Queen behind while bringing Mi Sheki was wise. Yun Shen calmly replied someone had to guard their base. Yet inside, he knew the truth. Since their pact, Xiao Ye had been unnervingly obedient, never resisting despite all had imposed. Even when given chances to signal for help at the 72-Pillar Council, Shed stayed quiet and unmoving. Yun Shen was certain it wasn't loyalty, it was calculation from one who'd lived 1,000 years, likely exploiting the soul pact itself. To uncover the truth, the fastest way was to consult an older, wiser being, and the World Tree was the perfect choice. At last they arrived. The World Tree swayed gently, its warm laughter echoing as if it had awaited them for ages. It spoke, recognizing Yun Shen and his companions, saying that if he led them here, they must surely be trustworthy. My Sheki smirked, eyes glinting coldly, finally understanding why Shed never breached the Dark Elf defenses before the World Tree itself had been their guardian. Without hesitation, Yun Shen drew his axe, its gleam sharp, saying it was taken from a saintly faith follower. He believed the World Tree could see its true purpose and held the axe up. The World Tree observed silently, branches swaying, saying the Dark God forged it from mortal materials since dark matter couldn't harm it. The Dark God's real goal was likely a warning that it had been discovered, but the weapon still had value to threaten a human World Tree. The World Tree infused a trace of dark energy into the axe, enough for control if needed. Yun Shen nodded, accepting it back calmly, saying he understood. But the moment he touched the handle, the World Tree shuddered violently and cried out, "You fool! How long has it been since you checked your soul? It's right at the brink of annihilation!" The words struck like lightning. Yun Shen froze, sweating as if an invisible blade hung over him. Xiao Lang panicked, voice trembling, asking what was happening to Mr. Yun. Xiao Yu frowned, activating the soul-seeking eye, cursing internally. The old tree had noticed but only realized after contact. The World Tree urgently told Yun Shen not to panic or raise his head, as something watching him could still be contained. Xiao Ye inwardly screamed she couldn't believe the old World Tree could suppress the divine servant in Yun Shen. Her plans would crumble. She recalled that a divine servant, the secondary soul of a divine envoy, obeyed only the god. It lived within the envoy, guiding, monitoring, and executing punishment when needed. If the envoy betrayed or rebelled, the servant would erase the soul completely. Anyone interfering with a servant was deemed hostile to the god, punished by erasure, a rule she had secretly exploited. Though Yun Shen once failed a mission, it wasn't enough for execution, so she manipulated the servant into believing he had rebelled. That trick triggered its destruction protocol, binding her from harming him directly, but if his soul perished, she'd be freed. After years of patience, she wouldn't let anyone, not even the World Tree, ruin her plan, even if it cost her life. As the World Tree focused, Jishaji suddenly attacked, striking the colossal trunk. The divine servant awoke instantly, sensing danger, bursting with power, shattering the protective vines and aiming its sword at Yun Shen. The World Tree roared furiously, calling Jishaji a traitor. Yun Shen leaped back as the servant raised its sword, divine light gathering for a fatal strike. Xiao Yu and Ruling charged blindly, attacking to protect him. Xiao Lang shouted that anything trying to kill his junior brother must die first! Yet every attack passed through empty air, leaving no mark at all. Everyone froze, utterly baffled by what was happening. Xiao Yu gasped, trembling. It felt like striking pure nothingness. Then the divine servant roared, voice icy as judgment, rebel, death sentence. Yun Shen's eyes flared, battle lust rose as he sneered, a dog's soul dares bite its master. He countered instantly, seizing a massive branch and shouting to the World Tree. Ancestor Tree, stop being proud, fight with me, he roared, slashing at the servant. Light and shadow clashed, detonating the surrounding space. Fractured. The battle of souls and divine wills had begun. Shockwaves spread far, even reaching Juwu beyond the world's border. That stubborn brat, I only nudged him, yet he dares this much, Juwu muttered. He stomped the ground, summoning a World Tree root to open a teleport path. Juwu placed a hand on it, letting the energy sweep him away in pale green light. His voice was grim. No time left, he must arrive before the boy's soul dissolves. Back on the battlefield, Yun Shen and the servant clashed wildly, tearing the forest sky apart. The servant howled, divine power surging, waves of energy upheaving the ground. It unleashed a flurry of sword strikes, Yun Shen parrying steadily, neither side gaining ground. Space shredded, cracks spreading, reality twisting under their immense clash. Xiao Yi screamed, eyes bloodred, vowing never to be chained again if the world burned. So be it, she clenched her teeth, ready to wield Yun Shen's axe against the servant. Instantly, the ancestor tree bound her with vines, voice stern, ordering an end to her chaos. Ru Ling cried out in panic, begging the old being to forget her help Yun Shen. Instead, he faced something unfathomable. But the ancestor tree rumbled, saying it wasn't unwilling. Helping might make things far worse. Meanwhile, Yun Shen and the servant still clashed amid blinding light and deafening blasts. Uneasy, Ru Ling shouted, furious and scared, can't win, can't lose, what's your point? The tree calmly replied it couldn't explain, simply it would act only if Yun Shen became too weak. Thus it hoped the stalemate would last, so neither side would perish. Suddenly, Yun Shen felt a strange power stirring within his heart veins. Realizing it, he threw a thunderous punch straight into the servant's face. The impact exploded, shattering half its face like cracked porcelain. The tree gasped in horror, praying he only meant to stall, not kill. Ru Ling worried aloud, half to herself had her junior lost control completely. The tree roared, roots bursting outward, no choice now. We gamble everything! Yet even wounded, the servant kept fighting, eyes burning crimson. Then, in its mind, a bizarre fiery surge erupted violently. The tree's roots lunged, binding the surge tightly to restrain it. It bellowed, pour in more power, stop it from signaling the god realm, or we're doomed. Ru Ling and the others joined forces, their wills blazing as they charged to help. But upon contact, a massive force hurled them away like dry leaves. They groaned in pain, horrified. Just a wisp of that power nearly erased their bodies. Then everyone, along with the world tree's roots, was blasted away, branches shattering. Ru Ling, Xiaolang, and Xiao Yu all spat blood, collapsing helplessly. The power was so fierce even Yun Shen froze in shock. Luckily, the three were only unconscious, not destroyed. Ru Ling trembled, wiping blood, despairing. If even the world tree was powerless, who could they rely on? The ancestor tree sighed, voice heavy. All its years of plans with Shu Wu were in ruins. At that moment, purple light flashed, and a figure appeared, blocking the raging energy. A deep voice praised their endurance. Now it was his turn. Instantly, Shu Wu the demon manifested, kicking through the energy core. The strike pierced it, dissolving the force in an instant. Thus, the outgoing signal was completely severed. Without pause, he struck again, smashing into the divine general's back. The foe roared furiously, shouting, Shu Wu! You dare defy me! Shu Wu landed, gaze icy, voice dark and low. He sneered, saying, the one who cast me here thought I'd obey. Wrong. Then he glanced at Yun Shen, smirking, you're his host, I can't kill you, but I can give you your own battlefield. With that, Shu Wu unleashed his art void shatter of space-time. Space tore open, a deep black fissure yawning before them. He pulled Yun Shen and the servant into it, sealing them off so their battle stayed hidden. Outside, Xiao Ye's eyes widened. She recognized that aura unmistakably as Shu Wu the demon. Ru Ling panicked, wanting to rush in, but Shu Wu sternly warned the time rift was lethal, only the strong could survive. Yet Xiao Ye sneered, no need to save him, his death would profit her, causing Shu Wu to coldly note that if Yun Shen died unnaturally, she'd die too. For if his body was torn apart by space cracks, his soul would vanish before escaping. Then, the soulbond between them would snap, dragging her to the same fate. Shu Wu warned her, decide, bet on his survival, or seize your own doomed fate. Hearing this, the ancestor tree laughed softly, loosening its vines, freeing her. Xiao Yi stepped to the edge, eyes cold, declaring she owed Shu Wu nothing anymore. Su Wu nodded faintly, good, our debts end here. Without hesitation, she stepped into the roaring time stream. Inside, Yun Shen and the servant clashed again, each blow detonating through warped space. The servant laughed madly, perfect battlefield? In this chaos, I can crush you easier than ever! He explained that sudden space rifts appeared, capable of shredding anything they touched. But as a soul entity, he was immune to such destruction. He smirked tauntingly, let's see if you can dodge those invisible slashes, Yun Shen. One misstep, and the rift would cleave him in half with no return. As he spoke, he unleashed relentless attacks, forcing Yun Shen back. Yun Shen strained to defend, eyes darting to predict the rift's paths. He stayed razor alert, one mistake meant instant death. In this distorted world, a single lapse would end his life in a blink. The divine servant grew more thrilled, laughing eerily, taunting that one slip would cost Yun Shen an arm. Yun Shen snorted coldly, eyes blazing as he activated his primal intellect, readying his flame burst technique. A massive fireball formed, swirling violently before launching at the servant. But suddenly, a space rift opened, slicing the flame in half. The fire was devoured, vanishing into the void before hitting its mark. The servant burst out laughing, the sound echoing through torn space. He mocked, fool, long-range attacks in this rift-ridden place are suicide. He continued, without seeing the rifts, you can only stand there and wait to be crushed. Yet he didn't realize Yun Shen had a hidden plan all along. The fireball was merely a probe to locate the invisible rifts. The servant froze, shouting in panic, are you insane, Yun Shen? Before he could react, Yun Shen lunged forward, delivering a thunderous punch to his head. The servant reeled, shouting in disbelief, how did you hit me without touching a rift? Pure luck? Demons. Then his face drained as he realized the earlier fireball had mapped the rift's positions. He gritted his teeth bitterly. Realization came too late as the counterattack struck. Yun Shen gripped his throat, voice icy, just a puppet of the gods. Besides ambushes, what else can you do? He spun, unleashing flawless rapid strikes the servant barely blocked, faltering. Just as it seemed over, a figure stepped out from a rift. Xiao Yi appeared, smirking, looks like late, no need to intervene. Beneath Yun Shen's feet, the servant had withered, his form fading like mist. He trembled, powerless, unable to fight back. Yun Shen looked down calmly, so when wounded, you shrink until you vanish. Fine, I'll spare you for now. He gathered energy and cast a simple sealing technique. Light spread, trapping the servant inside a glowing divine sphere. Xiao Yi stared, demanding, why not kill it? What if it alerts the gods? Yun Shen shot her a cold look, you telling me how to act, then muttered, don't forget we still have a debt to settle. She froze, eyes flickering, speechless. Suddenly, Yun Shen noticed the rift's entrance shrinking. Xiao Yi also paled in fear. He grabbed her by the collar, shouting, did you tamper with the passage? She coughed, insisting she had no reason to. She added, the gate is under Shu Wu's control. Without his leave, no one can touch it. Suspect me, and you suspect him too. Yun Shen frowned deeply. Then why did Shu Wu send you in here at all? Xiao Yi shoved his hand away just as a rift exploded nearby. She yelled, for this. Yun Shen flinched aside, nearly torn apart by the spatial surge. Xiao Yi quickly explained, I can sense the ripples before rifts form. Without me, you'd already be crippled. Yun Shen stared at her, nodding slightly. In this mess, your ability is indeed useful. He pondered, realizing Shu Wu's intent in sending her, but the vanishing gate made him suspect turmoil outside. Meanwhile, beyond the rifted world, as disaster loomed, Shu Wu suddenly faltered, breath growing erratic. His eyes flashed. He realized the enemy had bound his power with a mortal weapon. The ancestor tree gravely nodded, likely so. Dragging the demon clan into battle drew divine attention early on. Su Wu smirked arrogantly, good. The more eyes on me, the easier to strike. Xiao Lang blinked, you're really Shu Wu the demon. Why do you look like a tiny woman? Xiao Yu just sighed. Don asked. I've given up. Ru Ling smiled faintly, whispering that at least she seemed close to their junior. Maybe she wasn't a threat. Shu Wu calmly replied, since Yun Shen brought them here, they were now allies. Her words startled everyone. Ru Ling steadied herself, asking softly when he'd return. Shu Wu only shook her head, believing Yun Shen wouldn't fail with Xiao Li beside him. Suddenly, the sky quaked as a terrifying omen formed overhead. An invisible pressure descended so heavy none could breathe or move. Xiao Lang trembled, crying out. Xiao Yu turned pale, unable even to lift a finger. The power was immense, making all space tremble toward collapse. The ancestor tree spoke solemnly. The being descending was the dark god. Though the link was blocked, Yun Shen had still drawn his notice. Clusters of black space condensed. The dark god had arrived. His eyes blazed with fury, glaring at Shu Wu as if to burn existence itself. He roared, voice booming across worlds, calling Shu Wu's name in rage. Xiao Yu and Xiao Lang shook in terror, their hearts nearly bursting under his wrath. Su Wu smiled calmly, her expression a cold challenge, reminding him that if he destroyed this world, the divine war would lose its meaning. Her tone dropped, gaze freezing over, warning him to stop before he doomed himself. The words only enraged the dark god further. He screamed, then you'll die first. Instantly, a catastrophic blast surged straight at Shu Wu. The shockwave tore the ground and the world tree's roots, nearly rending them apart. Su Wu strained to resist, shouting hoarsely, Yun Shen, forgive me, I can't hold the passage any longer. The rest is up to you. In the void stream, Yun Shen turned to Xiao Yi calmly. Any other way out? She hesitated, saying yes, but he wouldn't like the waiting. Yun Shen nodded, eyes firm. The vanished gate proved Shu Wu's in trouble. Now it's just us. Xiao Yi frowned mockingly, not worried about the three outside. He replied coolly, Shu Wu would protect them. She sneered, you trust too easily. Yun Shen said quietly, if Shu Wu fell, his help would matter anyway, so I'd trust her choice. From within the seal, the divine servant rasped a mocking laugh, fool, Shu Wu's just using you. Only the gods truly stand with you. Yun Shen's gaze turned icy, cheap taunts already. Seems you're out of tricks. Know why you're still alive. The servant roared, daring him, kill me. The god will sense it, and you'll die too. Yun Shen smirked, this place has severed all your connections. He added softly, I'm keeping you alive for one reason, to seize every system your body still holds. Xiao Yi stiffened, inwardly shuddering. Yun Shen wasn't just defying the gods, he planned to steal their power, a courage beyond madness. The divine servant went mad, shouting hoarsely, you think you can do that? Yun Shen smiled coldly, you're called the divine servant, right? Then slapped him hard. A sharp crack echoed as the ear flew off in agony. The servant sneered darkly, pointless. I'm just a soul, no pain, no feeling. Your blows mean nothing. And don't forget, I have a true name, not just servant. Yun Shen paused, intrigued, a tool with self-awareness. Then what's your name? The servant snarled, never. I'll never betray the gods. Yet he faltered, voice trembling, it's just a name, why not say it out loud? His face went blank. Wait, what is my name? I had one, why can't I remember? Yun Shen mused, his true name must be his weakness. Perhaps the god once made him a promise, binding his loyalty. He said softly, I can grant you a body, freedom, power, real existence. The servant laughed scornfully, you dare offer me that? Everything you have came from me. He added mockingly, grant me. Ridiculous. You think cheap words can sway me, fool. Yun Shen fell silent. Killing him now would waste countless secrets hidden within. Suddenly, Xiao Yi spoke uncertainly, that face, it looks familiar. I've seen him before. Yun Shen instantly pressed her where. Remember, I need to know. Xiao Yi frowned, digging through memory, maybe in an ancient demon codex that human face was drawn there. It's strange. Yun Shen narrowed his eyes. Xiao Yi, your final battle against that divine envoy, where was it? She answered firmly, in the mortal world. He betrayed us, so we destroyed him. Yun Shen smiled, eyes bright. Then that's the key. Now it all makes sense. The servant stammered nervously, Mu, what are you talking about? Yun Shen replied confidently, you're human, at least your soul came from my world. He spoke clearly, your name is Li Tiancheng. The servant froze, body trembling, eyes wide in horror. He stammered, Li Tiancheng, I am Li Tiancheng. Xiao Yi gasped, voice choked, impossible. Li Tiancheng was the strongest divine envoy, immortal, indestructible. She trembled, I saw his soul shatter, and his body devoured by the Lord of Domains. How could he still exist? Yun Shen replied calmly, nothing's impossible. The gods can manipulate souls if the motive's great enough. After that battle, the god likely gathered Li Tiancheng's fragments and reforged them as a tool for his own ends. The dark god knew creating another envoy was useless, so he made him the final intermediary between realms. Xiao Yi frowned skeptically, a lunatic like that worth such effort, and he even forgot his own name. Yun Shen nodded gravely, his memory was probably wiped. To the god, this soul is just a mechanism. Xiao Yi pressed, then why not erase his mind entirely? Wouldn't that be easier to control? Yun Shen answered firmly, because the god needed Li Tiancheng's intellect and adaptability to keep the system running. The rewards always matched my exact needs. He was programmed to kill for the god or call for aid when needed, tasks requiring full awareness. Xiao Yi remained doubtful, why must it be Li Tiancheng's soul? Couldn't another suffice? Yun Shen shook his head, only a soul from his own world could survive the rejection. He continued, then you are Li Tiancheng. Stand with me, and it'll help restore your lost memories. Li Tiancheng screamed in despair, no! I don't know anything, don't make me remember! Trembling, he cried, where do I find that past? How can I recover it? Yun Shen replied calmly, your body still holds traces of old memory. After that battle, where did you bury him? Xiao Yi said grimly, of course we took him to the dark world, no one would let humans use him as a sacrifice. Yun Shen nodded softly, muttering, so they threw him somewhere in the dark world upon return. Li Tiancheng screamed in pain, stop! I don't want to hear it! Leave me alone! Yun Shen sealed him inside a mobile altar, voice low, fine, take time to think. Next time answer wisely. He turned to Xiao Yi, you said there's a way out. What is it? Beneath dim swirling light, Xiao Yi tilted her head, voice calm but firm, the dark world isn't far, we just need the right nexus point. She explained, this time vortex lies between worlds where time twists and space warps. Seeing strange things here is normal. To return, we must locate an unstable spatial zone leading to the dark world and break it open, that's the only way across. Yun Shen nodded, eyes sharp as blades. Breaking unstable space was within his power. He recalled Master Xia once doing the same. Xiao Yi frowned, cautiously, easy in a stable realm. But here it's another story. Countless unstable zones overlap here, one mistake and the space collapses, dragging us into endless oblivion. So we must pinpoint it exactly. Ahead, there's a faint leak of energy, likely from the dark world. Instantly, Yun Shen closed his eyes, demonic energy surging, merging with the surrounding turbulence. Using fusion and ascension skills, his senses sharpened until he felt every spatial tremor. He thought indeed, many energy streams intertwined from the dark realm, the human world, and beyond. Some even carried breaths from unknown, alien worlds. Watching Yun Shen remain serene amid the storm, Xiao Yi shuddered inwardly. Even the 72 demon lords couldn't do that. Just how strong was this man? With direction confirmed, Yun Shen raised his hand. Xiao Yi, follow me to that source of dark energy. Then both shot toward the swirling black aura in the distance. He silently marveled, just as Xiao Yi said. This place was a hidden corner of the cosmos, both wondrous and perilous. As they neared, shattered space shards glittered like mirrors, reflecting infinite forms. Gradually, the image of the dark world emerged through the fractured layers. Yun Shen paused briefly. Xiao Yi reminded calmly, I told you, within time turbulence, any image may appear. Don't be distracted. She added, these are time traces from other spaces after images left by past events. Yun Shen asked softly, so these fragments are past visions of other worlds? Xiao Yi nodded, yes, mere echoes long gone. He asked curiously if everything that ever happened could be seen. Xiao Yi softly replied, yes, but the odds were near zero. Each moment intertwines countless worlds. Yun Shen laughed, shaking his head. It sounded possible, but it was basically impossible, odds worse than a miracle. Suddenly, his eyes widened in panic, voice trembling, wait, that's… Xiao Yi turned back nervously. What is it? Someone you know? Yun Shen stared into the void and screamed, Yun Dang, why are you here? His sister, wielder of time manipulation, floated amidst the chaotic vortex. Her blurry figure and gentle face shattered Yun Shen's heart. He couldn't hold back, shouting her name and lunging toward the image. Xiaoye grabbed him, sternly warning, "Don't! That time energy field will kill you instantly!" She explained it wasn't her real body, just a time projection that should vanished, but it persisted, strangely. She frowned. How could a human affect the current of time itself? Unheard of. Yun Shen's voice trembled. Yes, Yun Dang is a time-type prodigy. Xiaoye's eyes widened. Ah, that explains it. She murmured that time abilities rank supreme even in the dark world, rare enough to make gods wary. Perhaps when her power burst, she briefly linked with the temporal current, leaving an eternal afterimage. Hearing this, Yun Shen froze, cursing himself. Damn it, why did I realize earlier? He recalled the global broadcast duel. Yun Dang must have witnessed him vanish before the world, a shock that shattered her mind. Regret flooded him. He clutched his head, blaming himself for leaving her with Headmaster Yi, thinking she'd be safe, but his disappearance triggered her power's rampage. Seeing his despair, Xiao Yi trembled yet gently urged him not to lose hope. Time powers were rarer and deeper than space. Silently, she wished if he died, she would live alone. At once, Yun Shen thrust his hand through the temporal current, shouting, "I'll see it with my own eyes!" Instantly, an invisible force crushed his body mercilessly. Agony tore through him, his flesh feeling ground to dust. Xiao Yi screamed, "No, you can't violate time, it's draining your life." Yet Yun Shen gritted his teeth, rasping, compared to Yun Dang's safety, lifespan means nothing. He growled low, "I must witness the truth." Even as his hand decayed from time's erosion, he still reached toward Yun Dang. At that moment, time energy exploded again, replaying Yun Dang's loss of control. Xiao Ye shrieked, "Run! One touch of that power and you're gone!" In a blink, everything, people and things, was devoured by time. Little Yun Dang panicked, seeing her brother vanish, screaming in despair, begging him not to leave. Time's force surged higher, forming catastrophic temporal storms. Just then, her teacher and Headmaster Ye appeared amid the chaos. The teacher gasped, "How can it be this strong? It's just a power outburst. Yun Dang hasn't even completed her transfer." Headmaster Yi replied gravely, "That's the terror of a pseudotime user. To save her, we must wake her up first." He added, "Safest way, enter the energy zone and scatter Lingkong water, an Orank relic, to purge negative emotions and calm her mind." The teacher shouted to go herself, but Headmaster Yi barked, "No, you'd die before reaching her." He declared firmly, "Let me go instead." The teacher panicked, "Your lifespan can't withstand that pressure." She was about to call a teleportation master for help, but he was already flying upward, eyes resolute. No time left. Yun Dang had only minutes before self-destruction. He told her, "Everything after this I leave to you." The teacher burst into tears, calling his name in anguish. He glanced at Yun Dang, voice low and sorrowful, whispering, "Z Yun Dang." He remembered it was he who'd suggested Yun Shen send the girl here. Now that Yun Shen was gone, he must bear the duty. His own life nearly over, trading it for her future was worth it. He murmured, "You students are the finest I've ever taught. Pity I can't see you grow up." As his breath faded, he managed to sprinkle Lingkong water onto Yun Dang. Thankfully, the potion worked instantly. The time energy weakened, and calm slowly returned. The girl opened her eyes, awakening amid soft light. But at that same moment, Headmaster Ye exhaled his final breath. His staff fell, echoing with grief among the ashes of time. As he turned to dust, his voice lingered, "Farewell, child, don't forget me." Yun Shen witnessed everything, choking on words, muttering endless apologies to Headmaster Yi and Yun Dang. Xiao Yi stood beside him, silent and helpless before his pain. The sorrow twisted deeper. Yun Shen's eyes blazed with regret. He turned and walked away slowly but resolutely toward the human world. As he walked, his time-ravaged hand regenerated, though his breath trembled. Xiao Ye followed anxiously, warning, "Vitality can recover, but lifespan lost is gone forever. You've burned at least 20 years. Yun Shen replied coldly, "I know, but it doesn't matter. I must reach the human world." Xiao Yi cried out, "What about our alliance?" He glanced at her, confident, with the Dark Elf Queen guarding. "The three races of the alliance won't fall easily." His eyes hardened, voice like steel, "Don't make me repeat myself, go!" Before she could react, Yun Shen shot off, leaving a violent windstorm behind. Xiao Ye yelled, "Heavens, how can he be that fast?" She chased after him, her panicked voice echoing in the sky. In Yun Shen's heart, one thought remained: to find Yun Dang and protect her at all costs. Suddenly, a powerful force yanked him backward midair. Xiao Yi screamed, "I told you to slow down, are you deaf?" Rage exploded. Yun Shen roared, murderous aura flaring, ready to snap at her. Xiao Yi snapped back, "If I hadn't pulled you, you'd be torn apart by now!" Right then, a space rift burst beside him, sharp enough to chill the soul. She frowned, speaking through gritted teeth, "Let me clear the path you follow. I'm not planning to die yet." Yun Shen clenched his jaw and nodded, "Got it." Meanwhile, deep within the forbidden zone of the dark world, an oppressive silence reigned as subordinates whispered fears about Lord Kurata's state. Kurata sat dazed before an ancient coffin, muttering in delirium, "Destroy it all, I can feel your hunger." His cloudy eyes glimmered as he whispered, "You want to break free, don't you? It'll help you." He forced a faint smile, murmuring, "For now, I can only open a small crack." Then he slit his wrist, blood dripping into a glowing crimson ring. He muttered, "You will break free, I believe in your power." The ancient coffin suddenly shook violently. Kurata screamed in frenzy, "Go! Come out now!" Laughing madly, he shouted, "Devour everything! Destroy this rotten world!" The coffin lid burst open with a thunderous roar. A massive figure emerged, its body drenched in thick black blood. The undying battle maniac risen from death had returned. The subordinates shrieked in panic. The corpse revived! Kurata's gone mad, he unleashed the forbidden one! Li Tianzhang's corpse mumbled insanely, "Kill, kill, hungry." Kurata smirked coldly, "Hungry are you?" He raised a hand, calling, "Come here, lie before me like a loyal dog." Kurata chuckled, coaxing him plenty of blood meals here while the corpse growled, gulping blood and repeating, "Hungry." He laughed wildly. Who'd have thought the once immortal legend was now a mindless wreck? But he didn't care, whispering, "Relax, it'll help you, this blood is just an appetizer." Kurata lifted his gaze, drawing demonic sigils, vowing to restore him with countless lives, and carve a soul-tracking seal into his brain. From then on, he would control the life of a former legend. He sneered, "Become my slave, Lu Boyard," but before he finished, the aura twisted violently. Alarmed, Kurata tried to retreat, but too late. Li Tianzhang growled hoarsely, "I am Li Tianzhang, not enough, kill, kill!" He suddenly drained Kurata's demonic energy. Kurata screamed, "I saved you! You must obey me!" Yet in a blink, Kurata was drained dry, his body shriveled like a corpse. Li Tianzhang hissed, not enough, kill!" Then he lunged at nearby demons, blood and flesh flying amid screams. A horrific massacre erupted. No one even had time to cry for help. At last, the entire area around the coffin was sucked clean, leaving only ashes and silence. Meanwhile, Xiaoye led Yunshen to a space zone rippling strangely. She stopped, pointing ahead, whispering, "There's human aura here, break this layer, and well reach the human world." Yunshen frowned deeply. "No, something's off, there are several other auras inside." One was deep green, heavy with demonic energy indeed from the human realm. But two others were bizarre, one golden and dangerous, the other pale green, familiar yet strangely distant. He said firmly, "No good, leave this spot. Find a safer route." Xiaoye grumbled irritably, "Are you in a hurry or not? The gate's right there." Yunshen replied coolly, "The human realm is vast land at the wrong point, and we could be trapped in a hidden realm for ages." He thought to himself he needed a familiar aura, best if from Xuanlong Kingdom, and sensed a nearby space rift more suitable. But suddenly Xiaoye froze, face pale, eyes wide with fear. Yunshen turned, surprised. "What's wrong? What is it?" She trembled. "No, ahead lies something extremely dangerous, even if lifeless. We must stay away." Yunshen frowned coldly. "Dangerous? You mean those red auras? Someone like you afraid?" She screamed, sweating. "I don't know what it is, but don't get close! It means death, certain death!" Yunshen grabbed her hand and shouted, "I don't have time for this! The space points are drifting apart!" He growled, "We must return to the human world, to Xuanlong Kingdom! Don't make me force it!" Xiaoyi sobbed and pleaded, but his resolve was unshakable. As the two crossed the spatial boundary, a suffocating, deathly aura surged forth, swallowing all surrounding light. Yunshen froze instantly, shouting that that's a moving corpse! The corpse roared madly, murderous aura erupting. "Traitor! Yunshen! Betrayer of the spirit race, die!" The shout shocked everyone. Whispers spread. Yunshen, the Yun Tianqiu of old, is alive. If even Hes with the spirits, what hope is left for mankind? Yunshen frowned, recalling this was Liao Yuan, his old classmate from Dongyan Academy, once a proud new mage, clearly misunderstanding something. Liao Yuan screamed, "Anyone else may betray us, but not you. Even if I die, it'll kill you." Suddenly, a girl behind him struck his back, yelling, "Liao Yuan, are you insane?" She lowered her voice urgently. "You're not the only one who recognized him. I was once Yunshen's biggest fan. I know he'd never betray us." Look closely. Facing a spirit, there's not a hint of submission in his eyes. He might come from a far front line, on a secret mission yet to be revealed. Your rash act could get him killed unjustly. Liao Yuan froze, realizing his blunder, trembling, I've messed up. Just then, a fat spirit with two followers waddled over, sneering, "Yunshen, huh? The so-called Yun Tianqiu. A slave daring to bear that title. Step into Dongyan City, and I'll crush you myself. The city lord will love it." He smirked. "So, who is this Yunshen you hate so much? Tell me and I'll reduce your sentence, maybe even grant freedom." Liao Yuan spat in his face, snarling, "Freedom? My ass! I just misspoke, you really believe that? Yunshen's been missing 3 years! Even if he's alive, I'd rather die than sell out to scum like you." The spirit roared, "Want death? I'll grant it." But before he could strike, his arm ignited in eerie flames. Within seconds, his entire body turned to ash and vanished. His subordinates panicked, shouting, "What was that? That fire's terrifying, someone's attacking." Yunshen stepped out, removing his disguise, voice cold as ice, pretending's useless, erasing all spirits is faster. Liao Yuan and the girl froze, then wept with joy. He was as powerful as ever, just like in his glorious days. The remaining spirits roared angrily, "He's just like the ancient statue. It really is Yun Tianqiu! So what? That flame was a sneak attack. Humans beneath our bloodline can only be crushed." Yunshen advanced, eyes glacial, commanding Ba Huotu, Jai Guangwei Sunming, advance and kill them all. Ba Huotu laughed loudly, blood boiling, "Ha! Been waiting for that order." But Guangui and Sunming hesitated, trembling. We can't, Yun Tianqiu. The bloodline suppression's still active. Charging means death. Yun Shen's voice thundered with authority. If you lack the courage to wield your weapons, you'll forever remain trembling slaves beneath your enemies. His words struck like lightning. Both men snapped awake, blood surging, growling. Damn it, we understand now. Instantly, they charged together, shouting, We're rare second-rank sword masters, why fear? Let's fight to the death. Ba Hudu roared furiously, channeling all power into a colossal blast aimed straight at the spirit named Mu Mi. Yet, under bloodline suppression, the attack dissolved midair before reaching its target. The spirit sneered arrogantly, With that pathetic skill you dare rebel. What fools. Ba Hudu roared, eyes bloodred. If not for that cursed suppression, I'd crush you with one finger. A cold, mocking voice echoed from the void. Really? A spirit appeared behind Ba Huotu, grinning wickedly. Let me smash your skull and offer your corpse to the city lord. Before Ba Huotu could react, he was cornered in despair. But at that instant, a clone of Yun Shen darted in, cutting off the strike and saving him just in time. Ba Hudu shouted in shock, eyes blazing, That's Yun Shen's avatar! The spirit froze, while Yun Shen merely smirked, his gaze razor-sharp. Ba Hudu burst out laughing, realizing Yun Shen was shielding them to fight freely, so no need to hold back. From afar, Yun Shen's eyes deepened, he thought. To destroy fear, one must face it head-on, even if it's instinct. He murmured, I too once trembled before the gods, but now it's different. As long as they fight without falling, their bloodlines will shatter their chains. Meanwhile, other spirit slaves fled in chaos, terrified of being caught in the battle. Nearby, a mother and child clutched a torn rice sack, begging others not to trample their last meal. Xiao Yi approached softly, offering a magic stone, whispering, Don't cry. She instructed, This stone holds a private space, just place your hand on it to sense what's inside. Inside was enough food for years. The woman stared, stunned and doubtful. Xiao Yi smiled gently. He told me to give it to you, but even if he hadn't, I would anyway. The woman trembled, thanking her, then warned, Please be careful, the noise is huge. The city lord's guards will come soon. Xiao Yi only smiled faintly, replying calmly, Let's see if they dare. For now, in Dongyan City, Yun Shen was the sky. No one dared defy him. It was the first time in history a human dared face the spirit race in the city's heart. From afar, Yun Shen observed coldly, analyzing, This bloodline suppression is far stronger than I expected. Even when Ba Huotu attacks at full strength, his power weakens midair, proving the suppression is a near-absolute passive skill. Moreover, the key condensation ability all spirits share isn't for offense, it's the base maintaining suppression. Yun Shen swiftly scanned their data. Dian Wen, level 21, Mystic type, power 213, body 247, agility 200, intellect 201, endurance 203, skills blood python art, key condensation, and special bloodline suppression. Ju Tianfang, level 26, Mystic type, power 231, body 49, agility 200, sit 47, endurance 209, skills thunder basin spell, key condensation, special bloodline suppression. Chu Ziyu, level 24, Mystic type, power 221, body 227, agility, intellect 257, endurance 211, skills wandering cloud formula, key condensation, special bloodline suppression. Yun Shen nodded slightly, thinking key condensation isn't a battle skill, its purpose must be far deeper. Meanwhile, Ba Hudu's battle still raged, shaking heaven and earth. Though his opponent was only level 26, that spirit's power was abnormally fierce. Ba Hutu, a Dragonflame warrior at level 71, was still heavily suppressed. His skills Black Dragon Breath, Dragon Flame, Dragon Roar, and Ultimate Black Dragon Apotheosis all weakened. He laughed wildly mid-fight, shouting, Your attacks are pathetic! Out of breath already. Ha ha! Yun Shen observed and noted Ba Hudu's attributes had recovered by over a tenth. Just as planned to shatter fear, one must fight. With his hidden talent and unique class, the more he fought, the fiercer he burned with battle fury. Ba Hudu roared, charging straight at the foe, Trash, die for me! The last spirit collapsed, cleaved apart, its second-rank power shattered completely. A thunderous explosion shook the entire city, trembling the battle zone. Ba Hudu's stats skyrocketed, the bloodline suppression faded. He shouted, Not enough! I want to kill more! Yun Shen confirmed slaying spirits rapidly restored him. His inner energy now blazed to its limit. Perhaps, at this moment, he feared nothing in the world anymore. Yun Shen turned, picking up the enemy's spatial pouch, inspecting it. Several items had been destroyed. The Scanrid Type E storage bag, 10 cubic meters, stores objects only, not living beings. Item human-made liquor, too much causes intoxication. Item human-made rations boosts vitality after several meals. Also, an ancient spirit-forged greatsword rotted useless. Yun Shen mused, this thing has existed for 1,000,000 years. He recalled Tian Duiwan's dying words, the ancient spirit claimed to be humanity's ancestor. Could that be true? As he pondered, a surge of powerful energy descended from above. Dozens of light streaks fell, all high-tier spirits. The earlier battle had clearly drawn them. One shouted, Rebellious slaves! Seeking death! Civilians panicked and fled, screaming, The city lord's guards are here, anyone left behind will die! Sun Ming looked up, drenched in sweat. So many enemies, even Yun Tianqiu might not withstand this. One spirit pointed, laughing, There he looks just like the statue, it's Yun Shen! Another cackled, So it's him! Humanity's so-called hope, his head's worth a fortune. They all roared, "Kill the rebels! Take Yun Shen's head for the city lord's reward!" Yun Shen calmly drew on his origin technique, voice icy my head, huh, then pay with your lives to claim it. With that, he unleashed blinding radiance infused with pure origin power. A colossal energy sphere erupted midair, its light consuming everything. Flames engulfed the battlefield, incinerating the spirits. Their screams echoed like hell itself. Their bodies turned to ash before even touching the ground. The people stood frozen, trembling, stammering, "They are all dead, all the spirits are dead." The corpses disintegrated midair, vanishing into dust. The crowd was stunned. Weren't ancient spirits supposed to suppress profession users? Then why did Yun Tianqiu still stand? The spirit-fighting Sun Ming panicked, turning to flee, screaming, "No, Yun Tianqiu is here! I must run!" Yun Shen raised his hand calmly, eyes cold, murmuring he won't escape. But suddenly, another figure appeared, swinging a massive hammer down on the spirit's skull. He roared, "Trying to run now? Dream on!" Yun Shen was slightly startled. This man also resisted bloodline suppression, just like him. Then two more figures stepped out behind him. The leading man grinned broadly. "Yun Shen, it's been ages! You're still alive, that's great!" Yun Shen froze, exclaiming in disbelief, "Teacher Tan!" Seeing his old teacher again, Yun Shen was moved. Memories of past lessons during his class transfer flooded back. Though they'd once disagreed, he knew the teacher had always wanted the best for him. Just as he was about to speak, Teacher Tan cut him off sternly. "Now's not the time for reminiscing." He turned to Commander Fan, ordering, "Those wearing collars handle them." Fan pounded his chest, "Don't worry, leave it to me." Then, he gripped Yun Shen's hand urgently. "You've slain one squad of spirits, but their reinforcements are coming. We must go now," he said quickly. "Follow me to a safe base." Yun Shen frowned slightly, suspicious. A base. Soon, the group arrived at a dark, secluded area outside the city. A hazy doorway emerged in the shadows. Teacher Tan spoke gravely, "We're here." He pulled out a glowing cube, apparently a key for activation. When the cube's light struck the door, the space before them cracked open, revealing an entirely different scene. Xiaoye's eyes widened in awe. "A disguise artifact. Pretty neat." Yun Shen nodded, analyzing. "Its quality's top tier, at least a rank. Without fusion ascension, even I might missed it." He added, "This disguised house is an R-rank artifact structure. Never thought you owned such a base." Teacher Tan smiled wistfully. "Not wealth, just inheritance from another." Sun Ming suddenly exclaimed, eyes bright. "So that's it! With all that chaos, I should have guessed you're the guerrilla force?" He eagerly explained. After the spirits seized Dongyin City, survivors formed guerrilla bands, hit and run, harassing the enemy. They caused only small losses, but enough to drive the city lord mad since they couldn't be wiped out. Zhou Guangwei chimed in. "From what I know, the guerrillas are cautious. They rarely rescue outsiders, since one traitor could doom them." Teacher Tan nodded. "True, I saved you only because I trust Yun Shen," he said slowly. "Has always been careful. His friends must be reliable." Sun Ming and Zhao Guanghui exchanged glances, thinking careful. He just incinerated an entire spirit squad in public. Teacher Tan turned to the freed slaves, his tone somber. "Those poor souls." One replied softly, "We were ready for death. Being saved at all is a blessing." Teacher Tan nodded, pushing the door open, motioning, "All right, get inside first." Upon entering, the ruined site silenced them. Wounded lay scattered everywhere. Yet when they saw Yun Shen, their eyes lit up. "It's Yun Tianqiu, the pride of Dongyin City lives?" Teacher Tan simply smiled and waved, saying there was no one left to save. By the time he arrived, the ancient spirits were already dead. Another man gaped, praising, "That kid's a monster, did what no one dared, took them down cleanly." Meanwhile, Yun Shen quietly sensed the area brimmed with energy, over 40 profession users in this base. Fan Tuanmin added that the guerrilla force once numbered thousands, now only a few survived, and thanks to them, many broke the bloodline suppression. He introduced himself as a former regiment commander of Dongyin City, later joining the guerrillas. He recalled the old beast-tide battle when Yun Shen rushed to save his sister. Yun Shen could only offer an awkward apology. Fan Tuanmin plopped down warmly, inviting Yun Shen to sit and talk more comfortably. He continued, "The most effective way to break bloodline suppression is combat, capture an ancient spirit alive and unleash all your strength on it." Thus, in a third-tier city like Dongyun, where most are only first or second stage, facing the enemy head-on is pure suicide. Yet they still charged forward, even if only to stall the foe for moments. The price was horrific, losing the third-stage mayor, the academy principal, and 400 professionals. Still, they captured a level 31 enemy, a small consolation. After days of brutal battle, the group finally broke free of suppression. Teacher Tan slowly said that the architecture and furniture here were left by the principal, who once valued Yun Shen greatly. Yun Shen stayed silent, eyes darkening. Then he looked up, firmly asking about the origin of the ancient lotus race and its mythic connection. Fan Tuan was about to answer when someone cut in, asking to speak with Yun Shen privately. Everyone turned. It was Lu Yuan. He rushed over, beaming, bombarding Yun Shen with questions about his years away, receiving only curt replies. But the more he heard, the more excited he got, even begging for an autograph to impress girls. Yun Shen frowned, scolding him for being frivolous when serious matters awaited. Before he could finish, Liu Yuan clutched his neck and collapsed in pain. His necklace flared violently, flashing crimson light. He forced a bitter smile, blaming himself for not acting sooner. Gasping, he apologized for ruining things, still asking for that autograph. Then suddenly, the necklace exploded before Yun Shen. It all happened too fast for anyone to react. Everything was so abrupt, no one grasped what occurred. When they realized, his body had vanished in glowing smoke. Soon after, other slaves met the same tragic fate. The crowd stared in terror as their own collars began to tremble violently. One man cursed the city lord for reacting so quickly but felt grateful to have met Yun Tian Qiao before dying. Yet they smiled calmly, accepting their end without hatred. Yun Shen sprang up, shouting that the collars were a trap, blaming himself for not seeing it earlier. The surviving girls spoke calmly. The slave collars could only be removed by the city lord they knew but still followed. As she finished, her collar blazed and light spread over her body. She smiled faintly, saying even in death, they'd hold their heads high for humanity's pride. She looked at Yun Shen, bowed slightly, revealing she'd been his loyal fan since his goblin dungeon-clearing days. Before she could finish, Yun Shen yanked the chain around her neck. He growled, "Too soon for farewells," and cast an appraisal skill on the collar. The system instantly showed that the wearer's life depended on the master's will. Forced removal meant explosion. Yun Shen drew out the world tree branch, eyes fierce, sensing it was a soul-bound issue. He roared, "Break from me!" The branch pierced straight into the collar's core. In that instant, the soul connection was severed completely. Yun Shen gently removed the collar from her neck. It went smoothly, no backlash at all. The crowd gaped, cheering. Yun Tian Qiao had truly broken the slave collar curse. The girl touched her neck, trembling, unable to believe she lived something even fourth-stage experts failed to do. Yun Shen exhaled, voice low, scolding them for not telling him sooner. There's a difference between can't and didn't try. He took out a strange piece of paper. Then he cut his hand, letting drops of blood fall onto it. He wrote swiftly, making Fan Tuandan call his name in shock. Yun Shen placed the paper on Liu Yuan's corpse, voice heavy, saying he'd just returned from the dark world. He added softly that at least now he knew exactly what to do. Teacher Tan asked in alarm where Yun Shen planned to go at a time like this. Yun Shen's eyes turned icy, killing intent flaring. He uttered only 2 words, "Kill him." The scene shifted to the city lord's mansion, where Shang Daowu was present. The Dongyun city lord sat in the grand hall, leisurely torturing rebellious slaves. He glanced at Shi Qingling, coldly saying all traitors were dead, but she was spared, asking why. Despite her pain, Qingling sneered that he was just lustful, wanting her body. Shang Daowu laughed, claiming it was merely a front all for the ancient spirit clan's grand plan of propagation. He gazed skyward, boasting of his clan's golden age, once ruling the world, fighting cosmic gods, now mere remnants. Shang Dao's tone chilled as he said reviving their glory required reproduction, and she was the perfect test subject. Furious, Qingling spat in his face, mocking that her boyfriend at least had half of Yun Kaka's charm. He wasn't even worth a toenail. Hearing that name, Shang Dao's face flushed red, rage boiling as Yun Shen's name echoed. Qingling defiantly taunted him to breed with higher dungeon monsters if he wanted strong offspring. Gritting his teeth, Shang Daowu threatened to punish her with the slave collar to see how long she could resist. She smirked, warning him to stop, or her Yunji would make him die before he could scream. He scoffed, boasting he had summoned 80 ancient spirit guards around the mansion, ready to hunt Yun Shen. Qingling frowned, voice trembling, asking if he really thought Yun Ji needed to be found. A deep boom answered her question. Behind Shang Daowu, Yun Shen appeared, standing silently with eyes cold as steel. Shang Daowu spun around in shock, shouting, "What?" Before he could finish, Yun Shen struck. Primordial energy burst forth, shaking the air violently. A colossal flame engulfed Shang Daowu in an instant. The overwhelming power rocked the entire mansion, flames lighting the sky. Yun Shen followed with another punch, blasting Shang Daowu out of the hall. His body slammed into a wall as guards outside panicked, clueless about what happened. Someone yelled that the mansion exploded, and the city lord was blown away. Sure enough, the one flung out was Shang Daowu, the ruler of Dongyun City. Yun Shen caught Qingling, voice full of concern, telling her not to move so he could heal her. But she urged him to chase, warning that the ancient spirits had beings rivaling national guardian generals. He couldn't let him escape. Yun Shen nodded, face grim, eyes flashing with killing intent. Outside, soldiers lifted Shang Daowu gasping. He muttered that without the ambush, he wouldn't have fallen so hard. Just then, a soldier shouted that someone was descending from the sky. Shang Dao's eyes widened. What? Yun Shen landed lightly as wind, eyes blazing with flame. He looked down coldly, mocking that a third stage like him was only scratched. Doubt flickered. How did he survive a primordial fire strike? Opening his interface, Yun Shen saw Shang Dao's data ancient spirit clan, level 82, earth element, skills spirit furnace art, blood slaughter technique, and a rank bloodline suppression. Yun Shen immediately checked himself and found all stats reduced to 1/10. He muttered that he'd once dispelled a rank bloodline, but a rank was a whole different beast. Yun Shen mused that a rank suppression could be undone easily. It had to be purged at the root, or Xuanlong Nation wouldn't have fallen so far. Shang Daowu roared for his soldiers to attack, shouting that he'd already suppressed Yun Shen's bloodline. The ancient spirits yelled in unison. Touching the city lord was a capital crime and charged. Yun Shen smirked coldly, mocking just you lot. He locked onto the first attacker, lunging forward. In a blink, he sidestepped, then unleashed a powerful spinning kick. The kick sent the soldier flying, smashing through a stone wall. Yet the others still threw themselves at him recklessly. Yun Shen instantly activated a fusion chain: Blood Warrior, Mighty Brute, and Savage Impact. One punch sent the whole group of ancient spirits flying. Their bodies fell like rain. Dry thuds echoed. They had no strength left to fight. The higher-ranked soldiers switched to ranged attacks, shouting not to let him get close. A storm of strikes rained down like fiery hail. Yun Shen raised his right hand, golden light glowing in his palm. He formed a seal, summoning a giant hand that shattered all attacks. The hand clenched, trapping the soldiers as they struggled in vain. Yun Shen turned his wrist, making the hand spin, then slammed it to the ground with thunderous force. They were crushed. Survivors trembled, calling him a monster. Shang Daowu seized the moment to rush from behind. He roared, cursing his useless men, and vowing to finish the suppressed enemy himself. He cast Spirit Furnace Sword Art, lightning crackling along his blade. But Yun Shen merely pinched the blade between two fingers, saying calmly it took 5 seconds to dispel an rank seal. Shang Daowu stared in horror, unable to believe his ears. Yun Shen squeezed the sword, shattered to dust. His foe no longer felt pain, only raw fear. Yun Shen said coldly, facing me at full power, how many seconds can you last? Then began a slow count. 5 seconds, start now. Exactly 5 seconds later, his eyes blazed with light. The bloodline suppression was completely lifted. Shang Daowu roared in fury, you dare mock me? But before he could move, Yun Shen delivered a devastating punch. The ground erupted, stones exploding outward. Shang Daowu was flung back and instantly knocked out. Yun Shen frowned, exhaling, 5 seconds, still too slow. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoed in the void. Shang Daowu's soul emerged, sneering, daring Yun Shen to face his spirit form. Yun Shen froze. The man had separated his soul from his body and manifested it, a feat rare even for demons. Shang Daowu boasted that ancient spirits surpassed humans not just by bloodline but by mastering soul power. He raised his head, voice echoing, declaring that their kind once wielded divine power and ruled the mortal realm. He sneered that humanity was but a distorted imitation of the ancient spirits, too weak to even absorb soul energy. Shang Daowu spat disdainfully that to the ancient spirits, humans were mere lowly slaves unworthy of the title man. He roared that humanity had stolen their sacred lands while they slept, and such blasphemy deserved total annihilation. Yun Shen replied calmly that, so this was why they thought themselves superior, but how many of them could truly wield soul power? Shang Daowu squinted, explaining that the ancient spirits weren't weak, they just followed unique paths, each born with distinct talents. He boasted of his mighty soul, trained purely in spirit force. His manifested soul meant he was untouchable. He roared, calling Yun Shen a human slave, swearing to erase his soul, and lunged in blind fury. At that instant, a chilling sound rang out. His arm was severed clean off. He screamed in pain, trembling, demanding to know what Yun Shen had done. Yun Shen said coldly, so-called invincible, your soul's power fits in my palm. Then he swung again, slicing off the other arm, leaving the foe writhing in agony. Yun Shen smirked, mocking, let's see if you're tougher than the last one. He struck relentlessly, each blow shredding the spirit body like a whirlwind. The man couldn't endure, shrieking for mercy, begging Yun Shen to stop before he dissolved completely. Terrified, he darted back into his body, kneeling and trembling, addressing Yun Shen as my lord. He hastily pledged his loyalty, offering all his wealth in exchange for mercy. Yun Shen's voice was icy. Fine, let's see if your life is worth anything. The surrounding soldiers were aghast, their proud city lord kneeling to a human. Unthinkable. One shouted in rage, calling him a traitor, vowing to report this and bury Yun Shen with him. But as they turned to flee, the ground split apart, blocking every exit. From the darkness, Xiaoji's icy voice echoed, saying everything had gone exactly as the master planned. His tone hissed, tonight, no one leaves alive. Screams erupted, blood painting the courtyard as ancient spirits begged amid brutal slaughter. Cries of despair echoed through the mansion. Soon after, Teacher Tan and the others arrived, shouting for Yun Shen to stop so they could plan their next move. But as they entered, the sight froze them in horror. It was over. All ancient spirits were bound, and Shang Daowu now served as a footrest beneath Yun Shen's feet. Casually munching his spoils, Yun Shen smiled, explaining the overlord Bloomfruit boosted intellect and speed permanently. The guerrilla fighter's heart surged with pride. Yun Tianqiao had defeated the city lord, and humanity saw hope again. One breathless soldier apologized, saying Yun Shen moved too fast. They tried but couldn't catch up. Yun Shen smiled kindly, replying, it's fine, just having you here makes me glad. There's still much to do. He mentioned his old comrade Shi Qingling, asking them to care for her and rescue all imprisoned humans across Dongyun City. Teacher Tan eagerly agreed, declaring Dongyun City was truly liberated at last. Yun Shen nodded, saying he'd personally handle the remaining ancient spirits. He chuckled softly, adding he'd just had a fun idea this time. The city lord might make a decent punching bag. That night, news of Yun Shen's victory over the city lord spread through Dongyun City, shaking the entire region. At first, the people doubted, but once they saw the captured ancient spirits, they rejoiced, feasting all night in freedom's name. Yet some quietly took their rations and left, seeking peace elsewhere. The guerrillas didn't stop them. The remaining ancient spirits tried to flee, but were ambushed by the guerrillas and swiftly captured. At that moment, Yun Shen was busy giving the city lord a special training session. He struck him repeatedly, making the man howl in pain, demanding why he was being tortured after being spared. Xiao Yi replied coldly, "Being beaten is your only worth," then smirked, recalling Shed once suffered the same. She thought, with his low cultivation, Yun Shen would extract every secret within one night. Yun Shen murmured that the soul mark technique, blood slaughter art, and Q condensation were now his. After a night of torture and looting, he'd gained a heap of skills, even ones he hadn't planned to take, but more was always better. He chuckled to himself, thinking, what a bargain. Then he tossed the city lord a glowing collar. Calmly said, "Put it on." The city lord didn't suspect a thing, believing the slave collar was an ancient spirit artifact only he could command. He plotted to play along, then escape and beg the ancient emperor to destroy Yun Shen. But the moment he wore it, the collar blazed violently, and he screamed, "Impossible! How can it activate?" Yun Shen smiled faintly, saying, "A soul mark, huh? Unless it's innate talent, I can steal it all. Now spill everything, hide a word, and suffer." Despairing, the city lord knelt and vowed to tell Yun Shen everything from the start. He explained that the ancient spirits had ranks like humans: emperor, heaven, earth, mystic, and yellow, matching fourth to first cultivation stages. He said that since creation's dawn, ancient spirits fought beside gods across the cosmos. Yun Shen sneered that such weaklings dared call themselves divine aides. The city lord bowed hurriedly, saying they were merely rear guards, battling monsters invading from other worlds, not true divine warriors. The creatures humans called goblins, demons, and undead were captives once caught by ancient spirits from alternate realms. Over millions of years, these beings evolved. The gentle became mounts or summoned beasts. The savage were thrown into dungeons for humans to level up. Yun Shen pondered, asking, "So this world was originally only ancient spirits?" The city lord calmly replied, "No, there were pigs, cows, chickens, goats, and other non-cultivating creatures for us to eat." Yun Shen's heart stirred, recalling the corpses adrift in temporal rifts, perhaps remnants of those beings annihilated by gods. He asked, "Why did you all sleep for millions of years, only to awaken suddenly?" The city lord shook his head, saying he'd simply collapsed one day and woke within Shanlong Nation. He added that upon investigation, he found the entire race had fallen asleep simultaneously, a worldwide event known only to the great emperors. Yun Shen frowned, voice low. How many ancient spirits are in Xuanlong Nation now? How many emperor level exist? He knew this was a threat beyond nations, a threat to humanity itself. The city lord answered firmly, around 700,000 ancient spirits remained, with at most 4 at emperor level, the 4 directional ancient emperors. Yun Shen frowned. Such a small number against tens of billions of humans seemed nothing, yet his instincts screamed unease. The city lord sighed, saying in ancient times the ancient spirits, numbered in the billions, nearly wiped out after the primordial war. They were but one branch of countless races. He then mentioned ancient races: the giants, beastfolk, and ironborn who once ruled their lands, now slumbering eternally as well. It turned out that today's Long Nation was once the ancient spirit clan's homeland, existing for millions of years. Back then, the gods gathered all races to conquer countless worlds, expanding territory and resources, making humanity stronger than ever. That glory seemed endless, until a force from the dark realm appeared: the demonic legion, led by the god of darkness, equal in might to the gods. 1,000-year war followed, rivers of blood, massive losses on both sides, ending only in a stalemate truce. Yun Shen glanced at Xiao Ye, softly asking if she'd heard of it. She replied she knew only fragments of legend, as she wasn't born then. Yet some knew everything, for they were born of the dark realm itself and survived till now as the first 7 demon pillars. Thus, they were true ancient monsters, far beyond ordinary fiends. No one could approach them and live to learn their secrets. The city lord added grimly that after that war, humanity declined and the ancient spirits fell from glory to barely 500,000 souls. Yet amid the ruins, many powerhouses left to seek the gods, and none ever returned. Hearing this, Yun Shen was shaken. Were they slain, or had the so-called human gods hidden a terrifying truth? The city lord shook his head, sighing that such matters were beyond his knowledge. He said ancient human texts mentioned the ancient spirits under names like Pan Gu, Xianwan, and Hao Tian, distorted yet strangely familiar. Likewise, other races left legends of heroes like Niu Se, Oding, Wan Tian, and Tian Zhao all vanished while searching for the gods. Yun Shen pondered that perhaps the ancient races perished, but their memories became myths passed through generations. Then suddenly he realized when they awakened, myth returned to the world, the very mythic version humanity now lived through. The city lord bowed, saying he'd told all he knew, and was but a low tier being compared to his ancestors. Yun Shen folded his arms, thinking if it was all true, was the god's purpose in launching this mythic version to fight the demonic legion. He then asked why all ancient spirits possessed a skill called Chu condensation. What exactly did it do? The city lord replied that it was their foundational art, entirely different from human cultivation. One method was to condense world energy directly into the body to strengthen oneself. The other was similar to humans, killing outer realm creatures and absorbing their energy, like leveling up by slaying monsters. Hearing that, Yun Shen closed his eyes, trying to sense this so-called world energy. Instantly, a current of power gathered within him similar to magic, yet purer and higher in nature. But before stabilizing it, the energy dispersed completely, making him frown in confusion. The city lord explained that world energy had grown too thin, what entered couldn't be retained, so no one could advance despite growing stronger. Yun Shen recalled Xiao Ye's words about magic being diluted in the human world. Perhaps the ancient world had once been rich like the Dark Realm. Xiao Ye added that the ancient spirits method indeed mirrored the demonic legions, except they used demon crystals to absorb dark magic and evolve from it. Yun Shen took out a black stone, held it before the city lord, and asked if he recognized this so-called demon crystal. The city lord stared in shock, saying he'd never seen it but could sense world energy denser than even the ancient era. Then he froze, realizing the energy lacked soul force, the same flaw plaguing humanity today. Yun Shen murmured that if both demons and humans lacked the same essence, it might be design, not coincidence. Just then came a knock. His voice dropped low. Enter. The door creaked open, its dry hinges echoing through the room. Teacher Tan's group entered. He respectfully reported all orders fulfilled save one requiring Yun Shen's hand. He explained that these slave collars on their human allies couldn't yet be removed and begged Yun Shen's aid. Yun Shen glanced at the city lord, coldly ordering the humans to line up one by one for cleansing. He said the artifact could remove even high-grade bloodline seals. Hand it to them, but keep the city lord alive for maximum use. Teacher Tan chuckled confidently, saying not to worry, they were skilled enough to keep the man from dying even if he begged for it. Then he paused, eyes narrowing at the slave collar around the city lord's neck, suspicion rising. Yun Shen nodded firmly yes, and in Shangdao's storage were more than 180 of them. Thus, the time had come for humanity to enslave the ancient spirits at last. In the days that followed, Yun Shen tirelessly removed human collars while carving soul seals onto the captured ancient spirits. From that moment, Dongyun City became the first place where humans reversed fate, turning former masters into slaves. The miracle ignited the city. Yun Shen was hailed as a symbol of hope, with crowds begging him to lead an army to free Shanlong Nation. A weary professional fell to his knees, voice trembling, saying only Yun Shen could save mankind, begging him to act before extinction came. Yun Shen sighed deeply, admitting he was still not strong enough, and his missing sister Yun Duong remained his greatest concern. As for Shangdao Wu, his captors fully utilized him, arranging shifts of professionals to torture him 24 hours straight. 3 healers stood by, restoring him whenever near death, only for the beating to resume until the bloodline seal finally lifted. In the infirmary, Yun Shen asked Teacher Tan if Shi Qingling had awakened yet. The old man replied sadly that her wounds were healed, but her spirit was drained. Years of fleeing had broken her. Yun Shen shook his head, deciding to wait one more night. That night, he sat quietly and thought he'd wait for Shi Qingling to wake and ask about Yun Duong, then leave Dongyun City. There was much to piece together. He recalled Shangdao Wu's tales that in ancient times the human world's magic was as dense as the Dark Realms, explaining how mankind once rivaled demons. But now humans were frail, even their national guardian generals couldn't match a demon lord, and an average demon equaled 2 human professionals. Yun Shen frowned. If that were true, the ancient spirit's stats should surpass even that. They ought to overwhelm demons, not merely tie. He did the math. If a normal human had a power of 1 and rare jobs rated 2, then common demons were also 2, while ancient spirits were 1.5 times stronger, roughly 3. With that gap, it made no sense they were only on par with the Ma Ju unless Shangdao Wu lied or something during their long slumber boosted the whole clan absurdly. He thought of bloodline suppression. It felt like a weaker version of life tier suppression that ignored all level differences. The corpse in the time-space turbulence suppressed Xiao Ye, yet had no effect on him, like a weak guling being still crushing a stronger third-turn cultivator. He quietly concluded that bloodline suppression was really life tier suppression, just limited because the gap wasn't huge. Yun Shen calculated that if human life tier was 1, the guling had to reach 2 to suppress them, or about 1.5 to stay equal. As for gods who could erase worlds, their life tier must be 5, 8, maybe 10, and that corpse in the time-space stream was likely just a step below them. Still, it was all theory, he sighed, mind tangled with questions. Where did the Guling sleep? Why were they awakened? And what was the god's goal? With that, he closed his eyes to rest. Tomorrow he had to find Yun Duong and check on Teacher Ha. Meanwhile, in Xiaoyadai Sheixi's private room, an icy chill filled the air. She lay trembling on the bed, drenched in sweat, as if trapped in a nightmare. In the dream, a twisted creature grinned at her, sharp-toothed, eyes glowing blooded. It sneered, "Duanyadai Shesi, you weak thing, dare call yourself a king. What a joke!" It laughed madly, bragging it had killed her mother and wiped out her clan's bloodline. None survived. It added that every strong one of her tribe died by its blade, leaving only her, a frail mock queen. Xiaoye gritted her teeth, eyes blazing. They once bowed to protect their kin. I never will. She sprang up shouting, "This Duanyadai Shesi would rather die than kneel. My life is mine, even if it destroys my clan. It'll kill you!" The creature smirked. "You're right, the moment of your doom is now." It struck, the blow exploding as Xiaolei burst into a crimson mist. She jolted awake, gasping, drenched in sweat, heart pounding like escaping death. Bowing her head, she hissed, "Damn it again, that nightmare. I won't rest till I kill him." She clenched her fists. "My fate is mine alone. No one touches my freedom." A soft creak of the door broke her thoughts as light spilled in. Looking up, she saw Yun Shen sitting nearby, gently saying softly, "You're awake." Deep Qingling froze. Tears streaming, she rushed into his arms, crying, "Yunji, I'm not dreaming, you're really alive!" Yun Shen coughed awkwardly and smiled. "Easy now, you talk like you'd met me dead." After calming her, he asked sternly what she'd been through, why the Guling hunted her, and how Zhang Da fared. Qingling sadly replied, "Zhang Da fell long ago. The war was brutal. The headmaster and teachers were all sent to the front. Only because the Maju army suddenly retreated did a few students return alive. The academy barely stands. Teacher Ha still holds the line, and luckily Yun Duong yet lives." Hearing Yun Duong's name, Yun Shen jolted up, voice trembling. She went to the front too. Qingling quickly calmed him, saying Yun Duong wasn't weak anymore. She'd awakened her time affinity talent, now a reliable comrade. Yun Shen nodded softly, eyes gentling. "I underestimated her. Seems she's grown much while I was gone." "What happened next?" Qingling spoke slowly, heavily. "The scariest thing in war is not knowing the enemy. None of us understood bloodline suppression then, so everyone's power dropped suddenly. Teacher Ha nearly died. At that life-or-death moment, Yun Duong sacrificed her vitality to reverse time for the whole team. Thanks to that and Teacher Ha's divine relics, they counterattacked and wiped out the invading Guling. After that, Teacher Ha and the survivors built a secret underground base in Zhongnan's stable, but unable to strike back." Yun Shen asked sharply, "You mean Yun Duong paid dearly for reversing time?" Qingling nodded, saying the power was terrifying but came with grave backlash. Luckily, Teacher Ha's like a walking treasure vault. He kept pulling out divine artifacts to neutralize it. Yun Shen broke a sweat, even more in awe of the man. He pressed on, "Then why were you hunted?" Qingling sighed. "Resources were scarce. They couldn't just sit and starve, so teams had to venture out. They split into small squads, acting in turns to avoid Guling detection. But misfortune struck during one search. She ran into fugitive Guling and was chased all the way here." Yun Shen nodded firmly. "Don't worry, it'll take you back." He asked where the base was, and Qingling said, "Not far from Zhangda, still within Zhongnan." "Good, then let's move," Yun Shen said decisively, and Qingling packed up fast, following him out of the city. At Dongyun City's teleport plaza, citizens gathered to see them off, eyes full of longing and respect. One sighed, "Yun Tianqiao's leaving Dongyun won't last long." Another muttered, "If only he'd lead us to strike back." Captain Fan shouted, but Elder Tan stopped him. "Fan, Yun Shen isn't a soldier. I get your meaning, but we can't bind a man seeking his kin with duty." Bahi Song roared, "Yun Shen, I still want to slay more Guling. Why leave now? Where's your honor?" Yun Shen calmly replied, "I kept my word, lifted your bloodline seal. How's that dishonor?" Qingling whispered worriedly, "Yunji, they all seem unwilling for you to go." Yun Shen shook his head. "Staying helps no one. Only by meeting Teacher Ha and Yun Duong can we plan ahead." He thought silently, "Soon I'll see her again. How much has Yun Duong changed? And surely Teacher Ha still schemes deep." Just as they were about to depart, the teleport array suddenly went dark. The light vanished, leaving everyone stunned. Yun Shen barked furiously. "What happened? Why did the array shut down? Bring Shang Daowu here now!" Elder Tan immediately dragged Shang Daowu over, saying he was supposed to see you off. Might as well bring him along. Yun Shen grabbed Shang Daowu by the collar, pulling him close, icy killing intent radiating. He growled, "What did you do to the teleport array?" The man trembled, stammering, "I just tweaked it so one can enter, but not exit. Keeps prisoners from fleeing and fools from teleporting in." Hearing that, Yun Shen's face turned cold. He flung the man aside and ordered, "Keep beating him." Shang Daowu screamed and begged as the whip struck again. Yun Shen turned away, muttering, "Guess I'll have to use the dumbest method." With the teleport array now locked from exit, things had gotten messier than ever. Elder Tan said gravely. Yun Shen, the formation's useless now. Reaching Jiangdai means walking all the way. But that path crawled through dozens of cities seized by Guling and territories teeming with monsters. Old Fan suggested, how about we all go together, mutual protection and support? Yun Shen mused. You mean a guerrilla march with me? Fane grinned. More than that, well formed the Vengeance Legion, heading for Jiangnan University. Reclaiming land as we go, 2 birds, 1 stone! Yun Shen thought half, trying to rope me in. Huh! Qingling spoke up. Yunji, I agree. Teacher has base lacks people if you bring them. That's precious reinforcements. Yun Shen pondered. Xuan Long Nation had fallen. The only safe place left was teacher has base. Bringing troops could only help. He nodded. All right then, we go together. Elder Tan laughed in relief, while Old Fan added, Yun Tianqiao, the Vengeance Legion still needs a commander. None fits better than you. Yun Shen shook his head calmly. I'm just a rogue cultivator, unfit to bear others' lives. I'll travel with you, not lead you. Scene shift to the central plaza of the Holy Empire, where tens of thousands knelt in reverence as hymns echoed. A radiant winged angel spread his light and proclaimed, Our awakening is the God's grace! Though flawed, you are loved. He delivers you from the war's suffering. He raised his hand and cried, Faithful believers, kneel and pray, let our pleas reach the heavens. The entire square dropped to their knees, chants rolling like thunder. From a tall tower, a deep voice said, If only you'd awakened sooner. Another voice answered softly, Perhaps, but it's far too late now. The first speaker, the Pope, turned and asked solemnly, Is everything prepared? Before him stood the Holy Empire's Grand Marshal, father of Princess Lucini, bowing low. Your Holiness, all is ready. The Pope nodded, voice heavy. Good, then begin. Suddenly, a torrent of dark energy burst from him, shaking the air and devouring all surrounding light. Countless black portals tore open, unleashing hordes of savage Maju into the human world. Seeing this, the angel went pale, sweating as he shouted, Impossible, this is a catastrophe! He trembled, crying, Sin incarnate, a divine calamity upon mankind! The scene shifted to the prison inside Yun Shen's war fortress, echoing with cries for help. Brothers, aid us! Someone please save us! Desperate voices reverberated through the cold halls. The pleas pierced Princess Lucini's mind, leaving her dizzy. What's happening? Who's calling me? Why does my heart ache? Clutching her chest, her dark wings unfurled, yet the demonic power within her began fading away. Lucini panicked. No, it can't be. My dark mana is being purged. Am I reverting to a pure angel? How's that possible? With half her darkness gone, she murmured blankly, a divine miracle descending, or have I been wrong all along? Suddenly, chaotic voices echoed in her mind. Who am I? Li Tianzheng. Who is Li Tianzheng? Why am I him? What's my purpose? Lucini snapped, yelling, For heaven's sake, shut up, you annoying soul. Can't you see I'm thinking? Quiet. The voice roared back, Damn woman. Cut your ears off if it's too loud! If not bound by the world tree, you think you're worthy to hear me. Lucini sneered, I would listen to a loser anyway. Don't forget him stronger. Li Tianzheng shot back, even losing to Yun Shen. I'm still above you, beaten by a third-turn woman. Lucini barked, Say that again. Shiz Lady Oyaoling, you fool! As the two bickered, another small, irritated voice chimed in, Ugh, you're so noisy! It scolded, Fighting is bad. Master hates noise. Be quiet or he'll hit you. It was Xiao Gai appearing. Li Tianzheng snapped, You again. That flower demon girl who won't shut up about Master. Compared to you, this crazy woman's a saint. He growled, No matter how much you scream, Yun Shen's never coming back. The words cut deep. Xiao Gai burst into tears. You lie! Master loves Xiao Gai most. He's just busy, that's all. Li Tianzheng panicked. Wait, don't cry. I was joking. Hearing Lo Yaoling's name, Lucini drifted into a daze, heart swelling with that strange, noble feeling called love. She glanced coldly at Li Tianzheng. Idiot, you can't even remember your name. How could you understand emotion? Deep inside, Li Tianzheng trembled, an emptiness stirring for the first time. He thought, all my life I've been God's tool lodged in others' bodies, acting like a machine. Now cut off from him, I don't even know what I am. That hollow feeling made him almost envy the fools arguing, while Lucini murmured dreamily, Sister Yaoling, come for me. Xiao Gai waits for Master, please call us back. In that moment, Li Tianzheng pondered. God owed him nothing, serving was duty, but now, faith fading, only Yun Shen seemed worth betting on. Meanwhile, in Yun Shen's camp, tailors were preparing new uniforms, the girls chattering about the Vengeance Legion's look. They eagerly discussed designs, wanting armor both mighty and stylish to match the name. Then the head tailor barked, Quiet! If anyone messes up the measurements, don't come crying, I won't fix it! Nearby, Ziyi watched silently, a faint grin forming. This talk of a Vengeance Legion of War intrigued him. He wouldn't miss out. Just then, Qingling walked by, making Ziyi freeze, his gaze wavering. He thought, that girl Yun Shen's attendant. Strange, every time I see her, I feel oddly at ease. Instantly, Ziyi called out, Deep Qingling, come here, I've got something to ask you. In the war room, Elder Tan reported, The Vengeance Legion's recruitment is done 4 third turns, 5th 1 second turns, and 6th I 7 enslaved Gu Ling. He added, all mid-tier cultivators have had their A rank bloodline suppression lifted. Using Shang Dao Wu as a punching bag really worked wonders. Yun Shen nodded, noting the first tier were fit only for logistics, so they'd handle rebuilding, but he still feared the Guling might betray mid-battle. Captain Fan reassured, those Guling are spineless, they wouldn't dare rebel, no need to worry. He added that those Guling never hesitated to slaughter their own, since civil wars among spirit clans were common. Humans are no better, he continued. For survival, we've raised blades against our own countless times. Yun Shen said quietly, survival is every being's instinct. Some keep their hearts pure, but they're always the rare few in a sea of men. Then Elder Tan reported that the Legion would be ready in 2 days, and asked to dismiss the troops. Yun Shen nodded his approval. When everyone left, Yun Shen sat alone, thinking this campaign would be anything but easy, full of foes not easily handled. He muttered, I've just cracked level suppression. Level once took a blink, now it takes 5 seconds, levels might be worse. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed through the fortress, making him frown. At that moment, Xiao Gai ran out, voice sharp, Master! The second soul wants to see you! Yun Shen drew out the fortress, puzzled had that guy changed his mind. He released Li Tianzheng's soul, waiting to hear what the other would say. Li Tianzheng spoke first, saying he'd thought it through. If he gave up everything, would Yun Shen help him regain his old memories? Yun Shen calmly replied, he couldn't promise, even finding that body might be useless, but he'd try his best. He always kept his word. Li Tianzheng chuckled, calling him honest, then asked, do you even grasp what I'm about to give you? He continued, each day I can grant you 100 customizable attribute points, ancient skills, training credits, and rare materials up to grades minus anything you need. Yun Shen raised a brow. Only 100. Li Tianzheng snapped, ordinary people gain a handful per level, you think it's easy. He went on, the higher you go, the slower it gets. By level 90, it can take months, even half a year, to rise a single step. With me helping, you won't need to grind each day, you'll gain 10 times more attributes than others. Yet Yun Shen smirked, I see, but your rare materials stop at minus no higher tier. Li Tianzheng's eyes flashed cold. You think I'm a god? I can't create infinity. Even real gods forbid that. He explained that everything he owned came from divine task rewards capped at minus. To get more, I'd need a sacred decree. Think I'd dare steal one? He then handed over a design for anti-demon weapons, rewards from slaying the phantom devourers, husk capable of forging any weapon with the right materials. Yun Shen accepted it, realizing all his assets were tightly controlled, like an employee begging for budget approval. Even the gods feared this soul. Li Tianzheng frowned, voice low. To get more, I must restore contact with the gods, but you won't risk it, afraid it'll expose you. Yun Shen asked calmly, then why not just grant all attributes at once? Li Tianzheng sighed, admitting everything he had was god-crafted and couldn't be freely shared. He explained that exceeding the limit would disrupt world order. 100 points per day was the max, any more and the gods would sense and pinpoint him. Finally, he roared in anger, my vault could make the weak into legends, drive anyone mad with greed, and still you can't give me back my past. Yun Shen answered evenly, I can only try. Li Tianzheng exploded, shouting, I need certainty, not trials, otherwise this deal's over. Don't expect another thing from me. Li Tianzheng growled, without me, would you even exist as you are now? Say what I want to hear, just one line, no reason to dodge. Yun Shen turned, eyes icy. Say what you will, it's useless. Your flesh was devoured by beasts. Even with all my effort, I can't recover it. Li Tianzheng trembled with fury, shouting in despair, you fool, such an utter fool! He snarled, can't even lie once. Idiot, deal cancelled. One empty promise was all it took. You can't even bluff. What's there to negotiate? Yun Shen stayed calm. It's not that I can, it's that I won't. You are Li Tianzheng, who was hunted by 7 Taitu demons for humanity's sake. I won't lie to a hero. The words froze Li Tianzheng, his gaze went blank, as if struck deep in the soul. For a brief moment, that unexpected respect from Yun Shen made him feel acknowledged once more. Then Yun Shen said quietly but firmly, I've said all I must. Rest now. Just as he turned away, Li Tianzheng called out hoarsely, wait, Yun Shen! Yun Shen paused, frowning. What now? Li Tianzheng sighed, saying this deal was a loss, but compared to serving gods, working with him was better, so he'd accept. He reached out, his face softening slightly, while Yun Shen stood silent, unmoving. At last Yun Shen clasped his hand, the system chimed, mission accepted, aid the second soul in recovering his past. No reward, no penalty. From that moment, the pact between Yun Shen and Li Tianzheng was sealed. Li Tianzheng chuckled wryly. We're family now, come on, auntie, this vine rope hard to work like this. Yun Shen shook his head evenly. Not fully, I still can't trust you completely. He explained that partial sealing both restrained power and prevented any divine leaks, while letting him act freely enough. Then he sealed only the hands. Li Tianzheng nodded, laughing, haha, fair enough, let's begin. He asked, first, those 100 attribute points, where do you want them? Your choice. Yun Shen opened his status board, eyes lighting at the fresh 100 unassigned points. Even prepared, he was stunned by such luxury, choosing to invest in physique and intellect for endurance and longer combat time. Li Tianzheng nodded, then paused. Oh right, the anti-demon blueprint as promised. Wait, I think I've got something else. He rummaged, then his eyes gleamed bright as he shouted excitedly. Found it! He presented an item proudly innate talent spatial dominion. Splus rank grants mastery of space-type abilities. Yun Shen's eyes flashed wide. A spatial talent? You were hiding a treasure like that? Li Tianzheng smirked smugly. Planned it long ago. Remember the dark mage you downed in the freshman battle? That guy was a space-type magician. You looted his master-tier spell, but without spatial affinity, you couldn't use it. Originally, I meant to give you a special quest to earn a severance skill from the human god to patch that gap. But seeing you had more urgent matters, I shelved it and forgot. Ha! Sloppy of me. Yun Shen could only shake his head in exasperation. Li Tianzheng laughed, activating the talent. No point hoarding it, consider this a bonus perk for you. At once, a stream of silvery light from the spatial talent surged into Yun Shen's mind. He exclaimed in awe, this thing's extraordinary, wonder what combos it'll make with other skills. Days later, the Vengeance Legion finished preparations and began their march. According to plan, their ultimate destination was the Southern University Zone. Along the route, they'd reclaim every human city occupied by enemies. Even with Yun Shen leading, the journey proved grueling and far from smooth. During a rest stop, Yun Shen spotted Diep Qingling peeking around suspiciously. He asked, Qingling, what are you doing? She whispered, Yunji, that pretty maid of Xuan isn't here, right? Leaving him puzzled. She waved her hands quickly. Good, because something about her feels dirty. I get uneasy near her. Yun Shen froze. Startled, she went on, really, Yunji? One look at her and I want to slap her. She's weird. He sighed inwardly, you sure imagine things. Calmly, he said, don't jump to conclusions. Xiao yes, a demon I brought from the dark world. Hiding her race avoids interspecies conflict. Hearing that, Deep Qingling blinked, blurting, so you did it to protect her, while Yun Shen silently thought, protect you people. Actually, he added firmly, I've forged a soul pact with her. She's forbidden to harm humans. No errors possible. Qingling exhaled in relief. Just then, Elder Tan approached with another man. Yun Shen, I must discuss tomorrow's battle. Are you free? Yun Shen frowned. Now, Qingling smiled knowingly. Then I'll leave you two to it. The three sat down, tension filled the air. Elder Tan spoke gravely. Our next target's, unlike the others, a cluster of interlinked cities. Nan cities as vast as Dongyun itself. Each city lies just 30 li apart and all are held by Guling, their lord's earth rank, equal to Shangdao Wu. Attack one, he warned, and the force surrounding will reinforce immediately. Losses would be severe. I'd planned to send infiltrators posing as defectors for an in-set-out strike, but scouts report grim news. He sighed, guilt in his tone. Nan City seems aware of us. The area's on lockdown. A stealth mission now would be suicide. Bowing his head, he added, civilians, losing faith, fled seeking refuge, likely captured by Guling, exposing Dongyun's secrets. Yun Shen pondered, eyes cooling. Had they sealed the city then, things might differ. But he shook his head, knowing guerrillas lack that power. Guerrillas are still human, he thought. We can treat people like the Guling do. At last he concluded, if someone truly wants to flee, nothing can stop them. Then the captain said sternly, if infiltration's impossible, we strike head and break them with force. He proposed concentrating troops, capturing outer Jianglin City first, freeing captive class users, enslaving Guling, and using that momentum for the campaign ahead. Elder Tan frowned worriedly. That's poking a hornet's nest. 4 cities will retaliate together. The captain replied firmly, I know, but it's the only path forward. Suddenly, Yun Shen cut in confidently, why make things so complicated? He continued, split the troops into 5 directions, capture all 5 cities at once. Fastest way there is. The others gasped, and Master Qin blurted, what? Even one strong man can only hold 1 city. How can we take 5 at once? Yun Shen just smiled, eyes blazing. How will we know our limits if we never try? The next day in Jianglin City, the resistance launched their grand offensive. The bloodline suppression of the ancient spirits failed completely, and a brutal battle drenched the land in red. Amid the chaos, one human warrior roared with laughter, ah ha ha! Spirit freaks, I'm here to tear you apart! Alone he fought 4 or 5 foes at once, every move at full force, fear nowhere in sight. The sight made the ancient spirits tremble, screaming, what kind of monster is this guy? One stammered, he's terrifyingly strong? Why doesn't bloodline suppression work? Is this humanity's true power? Just then, another ancient spirit barked, calm down! So what if suppression's gone? If our ranks aren't too far apart, we can still crush them! He shouted, don't waste energy on that monster, pin him down and wipe out the rest first. A dark warlock sneered, hey, you spirit types rely too much on suppression time to taste true human power! He flung out his hands, magic bursting forth Gravebone Swamp, slowing them, then winds of oblivion, halving their strength. The spirits panicked, yelling, what's happening? Our limbs are weak, bodies heavy, power down by half. Their commander roared, stay calm, keep distance, kill them with long-range attacks! Instantly, magic rained down, but the human fighters formed tight counterlines. Knights stood front, steel shields walling off every strike. The spirits grew frantic, shouting, why's our power so weak? Did their magic nullify ours? A human knight bellowed, you're wrong, humans aren't just warriors. We have something more! He yelled, even without fighting, "They're the Great Light Healer class! Magic ward cut 60 spell damage! Physical ward reduce melee hits by 60! He laughed proudly. "You arrogant spirits never studied humans, now taste real tactics! This is the price of pride!" He raised his sword. "Roaring charge! Wipe these spirits clean off the map!" The tide flipped fast. Ancient spirits were crushed. One soldier screamed, "Commander, what do we do? I've never seen humans fight like this!" The captain frowned, despair flickering, then growled, "Then let those who know humans best handle this." He ordered, "All ancient spirits, unseal your bloodlines, push the human captives and defectors to the front, traitors' families die!" The human prisoners were forced to fight, crying, "Sorry, we don't want this, they made us." One shouted in despair, "The Shanlong nation has fallen. Surrender, brothers!" Even so, human fighters held back, unwilling to kill their own kind. One human warrior roared, "No! I'd rather die than strike my kin! Damn you spirit scum!" Seeing the chaos, Captain Fan barked out an order. His voice cold, "An eye for an eye! Unseal every ancient spirit slave and send them to counterattack!" Instantly, the enslaved spirits were forced forward. "Wailing Aya! Forgive us, masters, we never wanted to betray you. But there's no way back!" The battlefield plunged into madness. Humans vs spirits, slaves vs slaves. Blood and smoke merged as human slaves began breaking free from bloodline control. A human warrior roared, "The bloodline suppressions backfired on them! The spirits can't resist, wipe them out!" The spirits saw their own slaves rebel and broke down, screaming, "Impossible! We're noble spirits, how can we be human slaves? Is this a dream? Has the world gone mad?" The spirit captain trembled with rage, gritting his teeth. "Damn it, they had this move all along! Only one option left!" He spun and dashed toward the city lord's tower, shouting, "Lord City Master, we need your aid!" Suddenly, a shadow streaked through the air toward the lord's mansion. A thunderous explosion followed. The city lord's tower collapsed in an instant. The captain froze, jaw slack. They dared to strike the city lord's mansion? Yet he shouted defiantly, "Hef, useless! The city master's power is boundless. Those humans just signed their own death." But what he saw next left him completely numb. Yun Shen descended from above, holding the city lord's severed head like a sack, and tossed it to the ground. The captain shook all over, voice trembling. "Oh, how can this be real?" He stammered, "The city master defeated, in just a blink." The captain choked out, "You're Yun Tianqiu Yun Shen of Dongyun City, aren't you? Truly worthy of your name, we've lost." Before he could finish, Ba He Song rushed in and kicked him down, coldly saying, "Trash like you isn't even fit to face my brother Yun." He smirked, eyes sharp, "Or did you think brother Yun had to fight you himself?" Ba He Song pointed down arrogantly, "Open your eyes wide and see for yourself. The one before you is just a clone of brother Yun." Indeed, Yun Shen had used the Hightier clone art fivefold ascension, each clone holding 70 of his strength and all of his assassin skills, meaning 5 clones were attacking 5 different cities simultaneously. The proud spirit city lords were now being crushed by mere clones, with no escape. One cried out in despair, "Impossible! It's just a clone! How can it be this strong?" He trembled, muttering, "If even a clone's like this, damn, has the real protagonist for sure." Just then, a soldier rushed in, shouting, "Report! News from the other 4 cities!" Gasping, he said, "Yun Tianqi did it. His 4 clones have already beheaded the city lords of Yin, Donghuan, Baiwu, and Dichi City." Every front had triumphed. The enemy was broken, and prisoner collection and casualty counts had begun. The resistance in a single day captured all 5 cities. The war completely reversed. In truth, Yun Shen hadn't even used all 5 clones, had kept 1 in reserve, yet victory came easier than expected. He recalled the clones calmly, saying, "Mission complete, time to head home." Meanwhile, the spirit city lord trembled, drenched in sweat, thinking, if his clone alone is this terrifying, just how strong is his true body? Right after, Captain Fan burst out laughing, thrilled, declaring absolute victory and ordering cleanup. Then Ziyi stepped forward softly, saying she wanted to help finish the battle instead of standing by. Captain Fan waved her off, worried she was too delicate. The cleanup was heavy work and involved handling corpses. But Ziyi only smiled and pleaded, so he reluctantly agreed, while everyone watched her with admiration. All around, people whispered, "Aw, the gentle beauty, truly befitted the attendant of Yun Tianqiu." Thus, everyone agreed that only someone like her deserved to stand beside Yun Tianqiu, while Yun Shen had already returned to base. There, he faced rows of slaves gathered from 4 cities, tasked with removing their slave collars, sighing at how many there were. Soon after, Master Chun comforted him, reporting they still had to capture Nantuo City, meaning even more people to free. So he thanked Yun Shen for his hard work removing each collar, leaving Yun Shen sighing helplessly. Feeling tired, Yun Shen ordered everyone to line up neatly so he could remove them faster. From dawn till dusk, he toiled removing thousands of collars, secretly wishing he could pass this power to someone else. The crowd all thanked him together, warming the air above the ravaged battlefield. They bowed to Yun Tianqiu. He replied with a wary smile, telling them to rest while he handled the soul seals himself. Then Master Qin reported that all the collars now bore Yun Shen's soul imprint, making Captain Fan overjoyed. As a result, most rescued professionals willingly joined them, rapidly swelling the human army's numbers. The revenge army now far surpassed its former strength, and people, awed by Yun Shen, asked Master Qin about the search for skills. Master Qin sighed, admitting that even after scoring the Nanqing library, no rare spatial skill books were found. He added that such skills only existed in central metropolis's rich but dangerously guarded. Thus, they'd surely face many powerful spirits, even Tier 4 transcendents, but Yun Shen calmly accepted the challenge. He told himself that sooner or later he'd face them anyway. The more spatial skills, the better. Master Qin patted his shoulder encouragingly. Then the old man gently told him to rest, saying he'd handle the rest, but before leaving, screams suddenly echoed across the field. A shout followed. "Don't kill him, just suppress his bloodline, make sure he lives!" Yet another voice laughed coldly, saying crippling him wouldn't hurt, while the slave roared in hatred, vowing to wipe out every spirit alive. Conversely, one terrified spirit pleaded he'd never harmed anyone, and had even secretly helped humans before. But the other refused mercy, sobbing and threatening to strike unless he wore the slave collar, while Yun Shen silently walked away, heavy-hearted by the endless burden. He realized the problem wasn't difficulty, but sheer scale. How many more would he need to save? How many collars? How much energy would it all consume? Would he even make it to the end? He chuckled weakly, fearing he'd collapse before even reaching Zhongnan University. So he resolved to find a new way to solve this problem once and for all. Suddenly, a wave of killing intent brushed his back, making Yun Shen freeze, eyes flashing with vigilance. He turned and saw a figure holding a book, calmly closing it. A clearly high-ranking spirit. The man fanned himself lightly, speaking evenly, to be noticed just 2 zhang away, quite the perceptive one. Yun Shen was inwardly shocked. The man's power rivaled the top beings he'd once faced. All appraisal data was blank: race, rank, attributes, skills, nothing registered, and the stranger only smiled mysteriously. He said gently that he disliked fighting, only wished to borrow a book from the room as a souvenir. Before he finished, Yun Shen had already taken stance, eyes cold, demanding his true purpose. But the man merely replied calmly, asking what meaning that question even had. Yun Shen growled, "If you want answer, I'll take that as consent and start the battle with you as my opening gift." The man raised an eyebrow, smiling as he introduced himself, saying he could be called Sealing Yandi. The name stunned Yun Shen. He gasped, "One of the 4 ancient emperors." The man nodded casually. He said he came not for vengeance, but for peace. Forcing a fight would only trigger his bloodline, which Yun Shen could hardly endure. He paused, explaining he preferred reading to battle, having long studied human history to understand both sides. He continued, "If one day you woke to find your homeland seized by weak creatures, changed beyond recognition, would you be furious?" Yun Shen sneered, asking back, "And when humans were slaughtered, did your kind ever try to understand them? Where were you then?" Xiling Yandi replied calmly that the continent now had 4 domains, each ruled by an ancient emperor. Both humans and spirits mingled in all. He said every territory was overwhelmed with issues, and Yun Shen's land happened to be ruled by the warlike East Ancient Emperor. Unlucky for humankind. Yendi smiled, saying that in his region humans and spirits still coexisted peacefully. Not all his kin hated mankind. Yun Shen frowned skeptically, asking why no one had ever heard of such a place. Yendi answered coldly it was because he sealed all exits. He explained the land's resources were limited. If refugees swarmed in, order would collapse instantly. He said he only wished for quiet reading, not governance. But Yun Shen grew angry, accusing him of shielding spirit crimes. Yan Di replied calmly, "Believe it or not, just understand this. The god of nature awakened the spirits for a deeper reason, not so the 2 races would keep killing each other." He lifted his gaze, eyes deep, saying he'd studied long to uncover the true meaning of that awakening. And in the end, he believed the gods were right. Spirits and humans should have joined forces, for the true enemy was the demon clan. But an unexpected event ruined it all, and the chaos origin began with one person. He lifted his fan, pointing straight at Yun Shen, voice heavy as thunder, "You the one who changed the continent's fate." Yun Shen's brows furrowed and raged. He called it absurd, but Yan Di said calmly he had proof and had investigated everything. He said Yun Shen once stepped into the shadow realm and took in a demon, made an act that shattered the divine balance set for humanity. Yun Shen roared furiously, calling him a hypocrite and asking if he really thought Yun Shen knew nothing of the so-called divine race's truth. He questioned where the former emperors who sought the divine race had gone, why the ancient war truly began, and whether its outcome was ever good. Demons. He pressed further, asking how much those who claimed to serve the divine race actually understood about that being. Then he asked coldly if the divine race really won, what fate awaited the spirits, and would humanity ever truly know peace. Yandi paused, eyes flickering, sighing that Yun Shen's questions were too sharp, striking his deepest fear. Yandi exhaled softly, saying he still needed time to learn more, but urged one thing: choose peace, don't let hatred divide the 2 races. Yun Shen replied coolly, voice firm, "Kindness for kindness, blood for blood. Peace is fine, but debts of blood must be repaid." As his words ended, the scene shifted to the Revenge Army's camp, where Captain Fan and comrades discussed new plans. They'd taken 5 cities, yet the tension stayed high. Captain Fan suggested avoiding Tianyun City by 300 Lai. He explained that place was rich and populous, but far stronger attacking it would be suicide. Dooley objected immediately, saying their army was now powerful enough to continue. Captain Fen sternly warned about the Heaven-tier city lord. For Heaven-tier spirits far outmatched, even human Tier 4 cultivators, while their strongest was only triple transmission. Worse, Tianyun City had enshrank bloodline suppression field, crippling both mages and warriors alike. As silence fell, a clear voice cut through, drawing all eyes to the command tent. Yun Shen entered, eyes blazing, saying the city lord would be his to handle. Everyone else just had to give their all in support. Captain Fen worriedly asked, "Even Yun Tianqiu only broke rank suppression if it shrank. Do you even stand a chance?" He warned further that even in victory, the army might be shattered. Yun Shen merely smiled, saying he had a plan to minimize losses. He assured them he'd keep casualties low and had his own method for countering the shrank suppression. Lowering his voice, he hinted he'd use tricks no one could predict, if only they'd trust him. Finally, he smiled coldly, saying the coming battle would mark the beginning of a storm unlike anything before. Meanwhile, in a blazing forge, an old blacksmith hammered away, the same one who once upgraded Yun Shen's sniper rifle. A spirit beside him sipped wine and smirked, urging him to surrender, saying skilled craftsmen like him were prized by the city lord. But the old smith rasped that he'd rather live alone than betray the faith of his fallen comrades. He said he'd keep forging trinkets to keep up appearances, but would never truly serve the spirit oppressors. The spirit sighed that the coercion order had already come down. The old man snorted, saying he'd heard that threat 100 times, then asked if any big news had come from outside the city. The spirit nodded. Something huge had happened in Dongyun. The spirit continued, saying a powerful youth had appeared in Chen City, leading armies to conquer 5 cities in a row. He said the name was something like Yun Tianqiu or Yun. Shen the blacksmith froze, eyes blazing like fire. Joy surged through him. He laughed aloud, amazed the boy still lived and had grown strong enough to terrify the spirits. The other asked curiously, "You know him?" The blacksmith proudly replied, "Not just know every weapon he wields was forged by me." The old man gazed afar, voice trembling with pride, amazed that Yun Shen now had power to make the entire spirit realm wary. He sighed inwardly, wondering what the boy had endured over the years to gain such terrifying strength. Mid-sentence, the ground suddenly quaked violently. Throwing them off balance, they rushed outside to see what was happening. The spirit panicked, shouting that the defensive barrier had auto-activated. Someone was attacking Tianyun City. He quickly reassured that the barrier had been upgraded strong enough to withstand even a joint strike from multiple powerhouses. Meanwhile, outside the city, human professionals unleashed coordinated fire. Waves of attacks crashed down like storms. Light, flame, and explosions roared, but the barrier held firm as a mountain, not a crack in sight, spreading panic within the city. Spirit soldiers counterattacked, yelling curses at the bold humans and activating the city's defense formations. Suddenly, the battle turned. The retreat signal blared as the human army faced fierce counterfire, formations falling apart. According to plan, the first strike shove cracked the barrier, but it stayed flawless, leaving everyone confused except Yun Shen. He said calmly, "Of course the core city holds strong," then turned to Captain Fan, asking to borrow a fine spear, preferably golden grade. Captain Fan understood instantly and ordered the rarest spear in the Legion to be brought forth. It was a diamond-grade long spear, gleaming the moment Yun Shen grasped it. The air itself trembled with battle energy. Beside him, Qing Ling tilted her head knowingly, teasing, "Don't tell me you actually plan to use that." He answered softly, "I do, help me out," then shot skyward as Qing Ling drew her charms, smiling brightly. She declared, "I'm not who I used to be. My support power's far stronger now. I can stand beside you in this fight." Her voice rang through the great Taiji Yin Yang array. 4 symbols, 8 trigrams. Heaven and earth become thunder, shaking the very skies. With her enchantments, even a tier 3 could fight. A demon lord supporting Yun Shen made it all the more overwhelming. Runes glowed around him, each symbol like a divine decree, pushing his strength to the absolute limit. From above, a colossal bolt of lightning descended, its blinding brilliance engulfing the battlefield like a wrathful god. Energy flooded his body. Yun Shen felt power explode within, as if reborn anew. It wasn't yet on par with Wanye Lunji, but the current buff was perfect, strong, stable, and without backlash. Instantly, Yun Shen moved his body, flaring as he triggered his ascension art, entering full fusion state. He merged brute strength with marksman skill, blending speed and precision into one seamless form. In a blink, he hurled a wild throw force so immense it seemed ready to tear the heavens apart. The long spear howled through the air, piercing the spirit barrier, its light shredding the impenetrable shield like paper. The spirits screamed in terror as the city's great barrier shattered from a single strike. One stammered, Was that an emperor?" But no one answered. They all fled in panic. Yun Shen smirked slightly, realizing he hadn't even used his full power yet, and still had made such a massive breach. He knew that if he'd gone all out, Tianyun City might have been erased in an instant. The revenge army surged forward, war cries echoing, with spirit slaves joining in the tide of people rolling like a flood. Ba He Song ran to Qingling, excitedly begging to be enhanced like before so he could join the fight. Qingling lazily shook her head, saying she was tired, but seeing his pleading face, she sighed and handed him 2 charms for speed and strength. Ba He Song shouted in joy, laughing loudly, then dashed off like the wind, vanishing before he could even thank her. The spirits roared in fury, swearing to show the humans what hell truly was. Shouts of slaughter the men, enslave the women, echoed across the battlefield, mingling with the stench of blood. Suddenly, someone screamed in panic, pointing to the sky. What is that? A colossal object descended, light reflecting dazzlingly. It was Yun Shen's mobile war fortress, operated by Li Tianjing. He laughed loudly, exhilarated, saying he had only observed it via spirit vision before, but now could witness it in action, truly thrilling. Wasting no time, he ordered it to fire cannons unleashed simultaneously, artillery raining down like heavenly lightning. The human professionals charged, shouting, their morale bolstered by the fortress' overwhelming firepower, nothing left to fear. Yun Tianqi's war fortress loomed in the clouds, a symbol of unshakable might. The battle erupted violently. The spear Yun Shen had thrown earlier shattered. He retrieved it, eyes briefly regretful at losing the precious weapon. He smirked, thinking that even a diamond-grade spear couldn't withstand his current strength, truly terrifying. Inside Tianyun City's main hall, an aide burst in, panicked, reporting the barrier had fallen and enemies had reached the gates. The city lord rose coldly, saying that if so, the only option was total annihilation, leave no one alive. Outside the lord's mansion, smoke, fire, and screams merged into a chaotic symphony of war. The human spirit battle entered its fiercest stage, blood staining the plaza crimson. The two sides were nearly evenly matched, but with bloodline suppression removed, humans began gaining the upper hand. The burst of power allowed the professionals to annihilate enemy squads. Spirits fell in droves, unable to respond. Yun Shen led the charge, dominating the battlefield, each move claiming lives, spirit corpses toppling like dominoes. He laughed wildly amidst the carnage, exhilarated. Killing stirred his blood to a boil. Yet even in this frenzy, it wasn't enough. He wanted to kill more, when a black smoke surged from afar. Instantly, world energy rose again, carrying the ferocity of countless calamities and the mark of war. Following came plagues, disasters, and death, forcing him to absorb the dark energy, whether he wished or not. It turned out to be a boon from the void, though its power was so immense that fully controlling it was difficult. If not tamed soon, the brutal energy could backfire, tearing him apart from within. He narrowed his eyes, glaring at the source of the intense energy. It was City Lord Thai. Hand stepped forward, voice heavy, exposing the one who had seized Dongyun City and destroyed Nan City under Yun Shen. The spirits cheered as City Lord Thi unleashed shrank bloodline skills with overwhelming power. Yet everyone was baffled why he had been marked, with strange seals appearing repeatedly. Calmly, Han opened his appraisal eye, murmuring that City Lord Tianyun had appeared far too early, exceeding all predictions. Suddenly, Xiao Ye's voice dripped with boredom, mocking the waste of ambushing a weakling. Right then, Zigai whispered not to act rashly and follow the master's plan. Finally, Ziye shrugged, muttering to quickly deal with the shrimp-level guy. She giggled, wanting to try human makeup, making Shiren angry and grumble at being called a shrimp. At that moment, he bragged that at heaven level, he could control his bloodline freely, and weaklings only earned his respect. Suddenly, Xiao Gai clutched his chest, trembling in pain, reporting his strength nearly drained. Van Shun reassured him to stay calm since they weren't the main force, noting the spirit beast was affected too. Ironically, Shi Ren laughed loudly, arrogantly asking why the opponent suddenly went silent and lost aggression. Immediately, he mocked how his bloodline scared others, planning his next victim, only to be suddenly knocked out. Then, a hand slammed his head into the ground. Ziyi was the attacker. Unexpectedly, she scolded the weakling for bragging, smashing his head down without being suppressed. The surrounding spirit beings panicked, wondering how a maid could be so strong, while Shiren felt pain and fear. Meanwhile, some calmly realized this wasn't a duel for weak women anymore. Just then, Van Shen warned the move was useless since his physique multiplied tenfold, angering Ziye to almost use forbidden skills. So, Van Shen advised her to hide her identity, noting the opponent used enhancement skills, while Xiao Ye fumed that without limitations, she'd have crushed him already. Shortly after, her power surged beyond Shiren, activating Crystal Destroying and Thunder Wrath skills. At that moment, his stone armor shattered as she unleashed her special skill, targeting his weak spot. Despite being weak in melee, she confidently kicked him hard in the back. However, the kick was nearly useless. His stone body didn't budge and stood arrogantly. Instantly, he mocked if she'd eaten anything, feeling no pain, enraging Xiao Ye to charge. She clenched her fists, roaring, daring him to provoke her again. In a frenzy, she unleashed thousands of punches, collapsing nearby buildings, making Shiren bleed but burn with fury in his eyes. He laughed wildly, telling her to get stronger, his voice thrillingly challenging. Xiaoye frowned, thinking he strangely enjoyed being tormented, a bizarre devilish type. Then she paused, realizing her relentless attacks hadn't harmed him, and he still laughed arrogantly. Suddenly, he roared, declaring it was his turn, his whole body glowing, preparing a full-force counterattack. In a flash, her energy was absorbed back, making Xiaoye sense danger. Turns out, his skill could endure and store damage to retaliate, just as she predicted. At that moment, Xiao Gai on the ground launched vines to bind his limbs, chanting to paralyze the area. Simultaneously, Van Shen attacked, coldly challenging if his armor could withstand the pressure. Immediately, space tore apart, cracks filled with energy capable of cutting anything, trapping him in a bind. The spatial pressure intensified, cracks glowing, forcing him to use all his strength to resist. Van Shen coldly asked if he could still counterattack with his armor shattered, activating his space-tearing skill. As a result, Shiren panicked, screaming and struggling to escape, frantically yelling everyone away. Though he managed to free himself from the vines, a spatial blade slashed his shoulder, nearly killing him. He gritted his teeth at the bleeding wound, roaring in anger, disbelieving he could be hurt despite suppressing his bloodline. At that moment, he realized the most dangerous one here was none other than Xiao Ziyi. Before he could turn, Xiao Ye vanished from his sight. Suddenly, she appeared behind him, voice icy, mockingly asking if she was inferior to him. She rose on her toes, gathering force, and launched a powerful kick. The strike shot straight at Shiren's head, forcing him to invoke a protective spell. But before he could finish chanting, Xiaoye kicked him in the face, cutting off his words. Shiren quickly activated damage reduction, making Xiaoye frown, realizing he relied on defense. Van Shen analyzed swiftly. He linked with the ground to stay firm, but it made him take heavier damage, while Xiaoye kept attacking. Yet she started to wonder, puzzled by his true intentions. She questioned if he was deliberately prolonging it to stop them. What was his real goal? Xiao Gei's vines tightened, but she grew exhausted, unable to hold him any longer. At that moment, Van Shen coldly realized the plot, asking if the target wasn't her, while Shiren laughed, revealing his ambition for ultimate power. Then he spoke solemnly, saying to hold a position no one else could, one must endure pain no one else can, recounting a childhood of humiliation yet never complaints. He believed only ordinary people drift with fate. He was born to defy it. The more he was pressured, the more he proved extraordinary. Each stand was a step closer to victory. Then he stared at Van Shen, saying that though the other wasn't the strongest, they were the center, the ruler, and he, ruler of Cheyenne Van City, would fight for the honor of two nations. As he finished, the vines around him burst open, his body shot toward Van Shen like a stone arrow. Instantly, Xiao Yi roared in anger, believing he dared to underestimate her. She clenched her fists, declaring she'd crush him joint by joint, showing what fear truly was. However, Van Shen raised a hand to stop her, smiling at the opponent's spirit, admitting their main goal had been achieved. He calculated that bloodline suppression lasted only about 4 more minutes, now the time to act after prolonged restraint. At that moment, Shiren shouted, charging like a storm, calling out his opponent's name. He yelled, wanting to repay all the pain endured, unleashing a peerless counterstrike, a fierce retaliation. The attack targeted Van Shen, yet he remained still, eyes unwavering. Then he softly said that with bloodline suppression gone, there was nothing to fear, raising a hand to absorb the entire strike. Shiren froze, horrified as Van Shen activated the 10 wheels, pushing all stats to their peak. Van Shen coldly said, if he prided himself on never yielding, then let's see if he could withstand this full-force power. He clenched his fist, ready to deliver the finishing blow, light blazing violently around him. In an instant, they collided, a deafening boom shaking the ground, yet Van Shen stepped back, breathing steady. He looked at Shiren, still standing but vacanted, and softly said, go. Calmly, he noted that though Shiren hadn't fallen, losing consciousness was defeat. The battle was over. The surrounding spirit beings screamed in panic. Some couldn't believe a mere human could defeat a heaven-level city lord of the spirit race. Others scoffed, warning not to praise him yet, since Van Shen hadn't used his original intellect. If he did, Shiren would be ash. Rumors spread everywhere. Everyone was shocked but dared not approach. Finally, Van Shen ordered the battlefield cleaned, ending this bloody fire battle. Soon after, the city troops gathered, aiming for Van Shen to remove the Nodric collars, but he sweated at the overwhelming number of prisoners. He realized this was the central city, holding countless people and tributes from everywhere, a number that made him sigh in despair. He calculated that rescuing them all would take continuous days and nights, not to mention the time to break the soul seals. Feeling overwhelmed and considering another plan, a voice suddenly called his name excitedly. Turning in surprise, he saw his old professor, exclaiming, teacher, aren't you in Zhang University? The old professor scratched his head, laughing bitterly, explaining that Tianyun City was his hometown, and he hadn't expected a descendant spirit to arrive just as he returned. He continued, saying while visiting family, he was captured, forced to wear the slave collar, and brought here by enemy troops, yet today, he met his old student. Van Shen, moved, opened his private world interface to help the teacher remove the bindings. He quickly explained that freeing the slave collar was his responsibility, and now he would restore the teacher's freedom, immediately starting the removal. The teacher, astonished, praised his extraordinary ability, asking how he could handle so many at once. Van Shen nodded, exhausted but admitted it. He sighed, explaining that he had carved all the soul seals alone, a time and energy-consuming task, but he couldn't refuse, patiently bearing it. The old professor smiled kindly, patting his shoulder, saying youth must learn to live slowly and lazily to truly mature. At that moment, an elderly woman's voice echoed from the skill seal library. She said that anyone looking to carve skill seals had come to the right place, though Miss Lia's skill was special, understanding its essence made it manageable. Van Shen curiously asked who she was. The old professor replied she was a relative of Miss Liu. Towerly slowly explained that due to her profession, she was once honored as a guest by ancient spirits to study mental transmission, and since the skill was useful, they wanted to replicate it. She added that research showed most ancient spirit skills were not much different from normal professions. All relied on changing forms and mana attributes, though ancient spirits learned traditionally, requiring a master's direct teaching. Humans could analyze skills into formulas, record mana paths to replicate them, saving effort. However, the soul system skills of ancient spirits were an exception. She said humans couldn't use those skills. Environmental differences made their soul power alien. Van Shen asked if soul seals couldn't be carved either. Towerly shook her head. Not necessarily, since the two races' body structures were similar. Theoretically, they could learn from each other. The problem was humans couldn't sense souls, while ancient spirits could. Van Shen listened, nodding thoughtfully, noting it matched what the Dongyun City Lord had once said. He pondered, this world has countless powers like space and time, yet only soul power is absent. Towerly confirmed that with a conduit to sense souls even slightly, learning soul skills is entirely feasible. Towerly added that soul sealing was just a common-level skill of ancient spirits, and for someone thrice reincarnated like Van Shen, it posed no threat. Instantly, Van Shen drew out the world tree, eyes shining, saying he had a suitable conduit, then activated the primary rebirth field skill, making the tree burst with life and glittering leaves. A note appeared. The leaves contained mana, allowing even a 1-point soul sense and instant life recovery. Towerly marveled, calling it a rare treasure. Though limited, it was enough to help cultivators grasp soul skills. She urged him to carve the skills along the designated path before the energy dissipated. Van Shen nodded, heart racing, immediately beginning to carve the soul seal to complete the skill book creation process. A moment later, Elder Tan rushed in, looking panicked and trembling. He exclaimed that this was indeed a key city, with treasures overwhelming in quantity. Before he could finish, Van Shen tossed several scrolls at him, explaining they were soul seal manuals, enabling humans to control spirit slaves. He thought to himself that no one would need to labor like machines anymore. The removal work would be done by his world tree avatar, while he rested. Elder Tan was stunned, nearly incredulous. He exclaimed, amazed that such a thing was possible, promising to select the right person to learn the skill and manage spirit beings efficiently. Suddenly, another elder cautiously asked if an exception could be made for a spirit being. Van Shen pondered, noting the spirit had treated him kindly and harmed no one, then recalled Shiling Yan's advice. He sighed softly, saying he was not bloodthirsty, that even demons had good and evil, and spirits were closer to humans, leaving life or death decisions to the elder. Demons. He instructed that if the spirit betrayed or harmed humanity, it must be punished, still believing in fairness as essential. Elder Tan nodded in agreement, thinking Van Shen, though cold outwardly, was kind inside. Another elder happily shook his hand, promising to stay up all night researching. He said he would craft a completely new multiform weapon for Van Shen, who was thrilled and humbly accepted. Then Elder Tan handed another scroll, saying it was an extremely rare spatial manual, costly but capable of opening short-term portals. With it, the user could teleport instantly in battle. Van Shen took it, eyes sparkling. He silently rejoiced. Gaining spatial skills would greatly expand his tactical options. A furious voice demanded why only 6 people attended the key meeting, and where the others were. The voice slowed, suggesting to set aside the matter of the First Lord, who was secluded due to unclear circumstances. At that moment, the 5th Lord angrily scolded the 3rd and 4th Lords for ignoring the summons, vowing to kill them eventually, while another warned their temper was unpredictable. Someone else snapped to stop the nonsense, noting he still needed to find the 2 girls, Xiao Yu and Xiao Lang, whose whereabouts were unknown. The 5th Lord sternly reminded them of the original plan. According to plan, they had captured the Divine Empire, but a major incident wiped out all demon troops sent there. The 28 pillars and 33 pillars lost contact, enraging the fifth lord, who called them useless for failing against humans. He roared that they deserved to die, but then the fifth pillar intervened, eyes cold, saying it wasn't that simple. He explained that the one slaughtering the army wasn't human. It was an ancient race called the Iron Tribe, far surpassing humans in power. Their strength was terrifying, exceeding ordinary professional classes. The conference fell silent. Someone asked what the tribe was, and he replied it had happened millions of years ago. Back then, only 7 ancient races remained, among which the ancient human tribe possessed enormous power. Their average strength was just 1 rank below the 3 great dark clans. Some families could even confront the demon clans head-on. Therefore, any disturbance from them could not be underestimated. The tension was suffocating. Everyone understood this was a real threat. The fifth lord slowly explained that the ancient tribes included 5 main clans: ancient humans, angels, Rakshasa, Iceborn, and white elegants. The divine empire once belonged to the angels. Now their sudden revival must involve the human god, targeting the dark world, but why they clashed with humans remained a mystery. Another interjected, saying it was just the law of the strong defeating the weak. Let them fight, and demons would act once both sides exhausted themselves. Instantly, a red-skinned one objected, asking why attack the divine empire instead of waiting for mutual destruction. The fifth lord replied in a low voice that 2 other great nations hadn't erupted in conflict yet. He displayed images of the Iron Tribe but said nothing further, letting everyone draw their own conclusions. If humans fought among themselves, demons could benefit, with the 10 pillars clearing the way first. However, he emphasized not to underestimate the Iron Tribe. They were anything but easy prey. When others left, the 5th pillar grew pensive, eyes anxious, recalling a familiar face that unsettled him. Nagima spoke, asking if anyone had considered the true reason behind everything, and if the Dark God won, would they still be needed. He added that perhaps the god didn't even need the Dark World, and the First Lord with his demon troops had been missing too long. No one knew why. The Fifth Lord coldly replied there was no need to overthink. They had followed the Dark God to conquer countless worlds. The human realm being just one, his only concern was victory. Yet he felt uneasy, never having faced the ancient tribes directly, and wanted to check personally, but Nogima shook his head to stop him. He said his demon agents had searched everywhere, from Black Knight King City to Dawn Knight City, finding no trace. So, Nagima suggested sending him to the Divine Empire to investigate the Angel Tribe and track his 2 lost daughters. Scene shifted to the human realm, where Van Shen stood. An excited elder loudly proclaimed he had crafted a new masterpiece, a 5-form fusion weapon no one could resist, presenting the platinum quality Yao Yi Heart Shatter with 80 power. The weapon's attributes included 80 intelligence, 100 physique, 70 agility, could switch among 5 forms, requiring a user level of 80. The racial restriction was humans. He laughed, adding that Van Shen's formation-breaking skill must be quite old by now. Generously, he offered the Heart Shatter weapon as a gift, a reward for Van Shen's recent efforts. Van Shen sweated, smiling awkwardly, thanking him but explaining that even diamond weapons couldn't withstand his power now, let alone platinum, then showed him the Lord's sovereign armament. The elder's eyes widened upon seeing it, realizing it was a legendary-grade weapon. He said that even with another 100 years, he might not forge such an item, as its materials required 9th-level monsters or higher. Those bosses were too dangerous even for a 4th reincarnated fighter, and crafting required a super-grade refiner, conditions harder than reaching the heavens. He sighed, noting that legendary weapons usually had only 1 form, whereas Van Shen was classless, so its full potential couldn't be exploited. He added that multi-form weapons suited Van Shen, but were rarely studied and not widely applicable. Few besides him showed interest. Van Shen nodded, thinking it wasn't important. He further explained he had a special blueprint, allowing weapons to form automatically from materials, with type depending on the main material. He was used to fighting unarmed, needing no staff even for magic. Him, roaring with hunger like a blood curse.